You ought to catch that Johnny Chicken show. He's doing fairs and concert dates all up and down the line. I said, stick 'em up, everybody, I'm robbing this place. Drop all of your money in my guitar case. Don't nobody move and don't nobody reach for that door. A lady said, why, you're Johnny Cash. I said, no, ma'am, I'm the Manhattan Flash, and I am the best bank robber in New York. Well, I don't pay any income tax. You don't pay tax on money you steal. You ought to catch that Johnny Chicken show. Chicken in black. Louis Theroux, Duke and Jones, jiggle jiggle. My money don't jiggle jiggle, it folds. I like to see you wiggle wiggle, for sure. It makes me want to dribble dribble. You know, riding in my Fiat, you really have to see it. 6'2" in a compact, no slack. But luckily the seats go back. I got a knack to relax in my mind, sipping some red wine. Shepherd's Bush, compact push, Notting Hill Gate, my Fiat skate with a crate of Cabernet. But not today, because I gotta drive. I wanna stay alive, not because it's illicit. Do I have to get explicit? As a matter of fact, I sip on the yacht with Pig and Reese, 200 diamonds in their piece. I'm trying to get mine so I can shine. Jiggle, jiggle, I like to see you wiggle, wiggle. Jiggle, jiggle, I like to see you wiggle, wiggle. My money don't jiggle jiggle, it folds. I like to see you wiggle wiggle, for sure. It makes me want to dribble dribble. You know, riding in my Fiat, you really have to see it. 6'2" in a compact, no slack. And luckily the seats go back. I got a knack to relax in my mind, sipping some red wine. I think that went really well, don't you? I enjoyed it. Nice being in the booth. So unless you have anything else, that's a wrap. My money don't jiggle jiggle, it folds. I like to see you wiggle wiggle, for sure. It makes me want to dribble dribble. You know, riding in my Fiat, you really have to see it. 6'2" in a compact, no slack. And luckily the seats go back. I got a knack to relax in the mind, sipping some red wine, black, sipping black, mine, sipping black, mine, sipping black, sipping black, mine, sipping mine, sipping red dribble, compact, beats black and black, compact, beats, beats, black and beats, black, beats, black, knack, beats, compact and two beats, compact and black and beats, compact and beats, compact and beats, compact and black, and luckily the seats go back.
Heavenly Father, we thank you tonight for all your blessings. You said in all things give thanks. So we want to thank you tonight for these mighty machines that you brought before us. Thank you for the Dodges and the Toyotas. Thank you for the Fords. And most of all, we thank you for Roush and Yates partnering to give us the power that we see before us tonight. Thank you for GM Performance Technology and the R07 engines. Thank you for Sunoco Racing Fuel and Goodyear tires that bring performance and power to the track. Lord, I want to thank you for my smoking hot wife tonight, Lisa. My two children, Eli and Emma, or as we like to call them, the little E's. Lord, I pray you bless the drivers and use them tonight. May they put on a performance worthy of this great track. In Jesus' name, boogity, 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 amen.
Good evening.
Great. I'm muted. What a great way to start out John Cena's date of departure from the WWE. Am I a little depressed? Yeah, it's a bummer. I will never forget seeing him come out at SmackDown from the Fist. CM Punk was there. It was 2007. They were filming ECW on the same night as SmackDown, actually. He came out and he had the spinner belt. And he was in his hustle, loyalty, respect phase, the very beginning. So he was retiring the spinner soon, I believe. Before that, he was rapping John Cena. So it was very, very much in my lane. That was my alley of Cena. Okay. The faux military thing, fine, whatever. Mentos 2007. Exactly. You get it, H. You get it. So this is a bit bittersweet. I also saw Donna's coming in hot. Get in your knees. And you mean on or in? Get in my knees. I will pray. I will get on my damn knees and I will pray to Cena. Listen, you guys, he's retiring. His last match is going to be in about 2 hours. So we're going to hurry up and get to the gabagool. I will rant about all the special things that have to do with Cena later. I am a little losing my voice because it has been perpetual ever since New Orleans. Okay. Look at how cool Cena looks. I highly encourage you, though, if you start to feel a little sad or it gets to be too much tonight when John Cena departs all of us and puts over Gunther for some reason, who's already been put over a million times, and I don't know. I'll go on that rant later. Just go back and play the Total Divas episodes when he makes Nicole, aka Nikki Bella, sign a contract saying if she fucks up anything in his house and doesn't follow the rules, she has to pay him money. She had to sign a relationship and a home contract. And then he forced her entire family to take their shoes off and watch Downton Abbey and then put them back on and then have dinner. It was fucking weird. Okay. So, yeah, and I get why they picked Gunther, though, because he is a hardcore, he's a German dude that used to weigh 400 pounds. He is a collegiate level wrestler. He can do Greco-Roman. He does the Olympic type shit. He's like a giant German Kurt Angle, if you will, or Austrian. I don't remember, but either way, he's an Eastern blockhead, or maybe not. I don't recall. He's one of those, but he started in Germany. That's where he learned with Kaiser. And he's lost 150 pounds. He just became a dad. He worked his ass off to get the IC title and build it up to something amazing. He is a powerhouse. He's built like a brick shit house, literally. And I feel like I would have preferred Shiloh, honestly. I really would have. I liked it when Kurt Angle put Cena over as prototype and let him basically fucking kill it. And then John Cena got credit backstage by The Undertaker, and he said, that's how I want my retirement to be. And it's well, then put over a little guy, take a younger talent and put him over, which I guess Gunther is, but I don't know. It's wild. Anyway, we're going to talk about that later. I'm very excited. I'm also very, again, raspy, so I apologize. We are going to get into this pretty quick. We only have a couple of little pieces of news to talk about first. And of course, we want to start off on a somewhat cheery note because we are going to get into some dark subject matter. So I pulled this for you because I thought that you guys would like it. Check it out. Okay. Are you ready?
Your Honor, defer. Miss Janice.
Judge Athens.
Your Honor, this is so unfair. Your Honor, I think I want to appeal. Your Honor. Your Honor, stop. This is propaganda. Your Honor, this is fake. Don't believe what they say.
I'm so obsessed. Okay. Can I just say that I'm very obsessed? Let me remove this. I'm very, very obsessed. Let's see that one more time. This is how I would defend Louis.
Your Honor, defer. Miss Janice.
Judge Athens.
Your Honor, this is so unfair. Your Honor, I think I want to appeal. Your Honor. Your Honor, stop. This is propaganda. Your Honor, this is fake. Don't believe what they say.
First of all, it's not who told you it was Hudson. It's not Satan. they're just saying how I would defend Luigi Mangione, darling. It's not Satan. Also, get a haircut, get a real job. Thank you for becoming a new member at that. No, they're not saying he's gay. This, guys, it's nuance. He's hitting on. It's because Luigi's hot. Okay. It's just campy gayness. Listen, you guys can't even be happy, right? What the fuck? We're doomed. Okay. What about this?
God damn, man, these motherfuckers gave me this goddamn dog for free. Come to find out I speak Spanish. Come here, Snack. Vente. Sentate. Dame la mano, move.
Like, literally, this is you guys trying to figure out the joke.
I'm not quite sure why I'm here or what I'm doing, but there's a reason.
Ma'am, we're discussing the rezoning for the Portillos. Do you have any comments on that?
For what?
We're discussing the rezoning on 53rd for...
Well, I live on 63rd.
Again, we're here to hear comments about the rezoning.
Well, I don't like Facebook, and I don't like the internet because I can't find a job. The library blocked my password. Now tell me, does that make any sense to you?
Okay, that's you guys. All right. And then a couple of you are pretty much this.
Hi. You're both high.
And I know at least one or two of you in here are like this. Not Darlene, though. Not Darlene. Darlene is like this.
Guys, is everything okay?
No.
I'm just waiting in line. I wanted to catch you as soon as you're available.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna go into work now, guys.
I'm bringing sexy back. Yeah.
Yeah, shaking Ferguson.
Yeah, for sure.
Birthday.
I thought. Wait, Frederickson, it's your birthday?
We're bringing sexy back.
Robert, match the freak.
Oh, okay. Is this it?
Hold on. We'll match the freak in a minute. We have to figure this out. What do you mean you can't get a library card? Why? What did you do, Darlene? You really got to do some crazy shit to get your library card took. What'd you do? Did you attack a librarian? Darlene would never forget to return her movies. Ernie, say you're sorry. Ernie, say you're sorry, quick. Don't accuse Darlene of that. She returns her movies. She may have pulled a gun in the library. I don't know. Darlene, what did you do? How'd you get your library card revoked? Also, Ernie's sorry. She understands that you would never forget to return a movie. Darlene, we know you save lives. You would never forget to return a movie. Okay? And also for those of you who aren't aware, okay?
Call Megan and Megan today. If you have been attacked by anyone but Darlene, we cannot control Darlene.
You understand? You know, Ernie, forgiven. Okay, but just never accuse Darlene of not turning in a book or a movie again. How dare you? Oh my God, you almost
You are all
got
grounded. Keep it up and we will go to the Grand Canyon.
I knew it. I fucking knew it, Darlene. I knew it because you would never take out a book and not return it. So it was a coup. We have to get this straightened out. We have to tell them. You have to come out to them. Ernie, will you help Darlene since you were her first accuser? Can you help right this wrong? How do we get this isn't fair, Darlene? Of course, you shouldn't fucking pay for it. I'm sorry, I got aggressive. I got really loud. You shouldn't have to pay for it. You did nothing wrong. They had a glitch in the system. Maybe we need to call Duty Ron. Maybe we need to call Duty Ron and Duty Ed. Maybe we need
Go
to
cry about it.
I'm just kidding. I would never suggest that we cry about it. Ernie said she'll help. It was in the Long Island days. What the fuck happened? They got rid of Long Island? Is it Short Island now? Did I miss something? $25 from 2011 when I taught third graders. They wanted me to read books our library didn't have. First of all, that's on them. Did they pay you for reading to the kids? Not our library. They'll fucking fine you. I know because I take books all the time. Darlene, that sounds federal. I would call the Department of Justice. I agree. And we'll try to reach out to an attorney for you. We'll handle this. We'll figure it out. If you owe them anything, often they will take the exact replacement instead of paying them money. Well, goddamn. But Darlene refuses. Darlene didn't rent it to begin with. They're trying to frame her. Okay? They're trying to frame her. We have to get justice. Amnesty for Darlene, says Donna Barkley. Donna, starring that comment, that could be a shirt soon. Amnesty for Darlene. We'll use the shirt funds to pay Darlene's library fines, unsolicited, and without telling her. Darlene, earmuffs. I apologize. I've never earmuffed Darlene. Oh my God. I'm mad with power too. I'm out of control. I'm sorry, Darlene. They did double numbers. Of course they did. Those motherfuckers. Do you want me to go strong arm them? Do you want me to go fight a woman? I'll go choke a bitch out. Do you still play Revere Flea Market? I do sometimes. I do. We've played it a few times this week. Technically, I had the money. It was the principle of not exactly. You guys are all about principle here. Never pay your library fines, even if you did do it. You know, free Darlene Wolf. Hashtag, says Sister Wendy. Thank you for that, Sister Wendy. I'm very controversial, Benson, right now. Steal from your local library if you care about the government, because they're not working for you. So we need to hold them accountable by taking back the books. They're going to burn them and ban them anyway. Just take them. Okay, take them and say, I'm borrowing this, and then run out. Don't do that. But maybe. It's fair. It's only fair. I scream at a librarian, get in her face and scream, I pay your fucking taxes. And then later on, call her and ask her for help. Call her and ask her for help. And then see what happens. You can get your ass beat. You know why? Because librarians don't fuck around. Hey now. You're banned from a library in Long Island. Dude, you and Darlene, y'all sound like y'all would get along great. Yeah, you're saving the books. Darlene's saving the lives. This is working out great. You three need to get together in Long Island and cause a ruckus. That would be fun. Doing a ruckus, wouldn't it be fun? Oh my God, I haven't been on the screen this whole time. That was crazy. Thought you guys could see me that whole time. It was just Dance Kinetics. Good. Dance Kinetics of Northport. Did you guys enjoy that news story last night about Wheatus and the connection to the Ricky case in Northport and how Teenage Dirtbag is really about a kid who killed his friend on acid in your town? Isn't that nuts? Wheatus is dark. Okay, let's get to the news. Couple of things. First of all, you guys know that I have a couple of things that I can't handle that make me very sad and upset. They turn Dad docile, and they make me want to eat sour cream out of the tub standing up and not go on the internet or leave my house for months. And that's shootings. And they happen every day, constantly. It's very hard to avoid them. But when there's big mass shootings going on, I kind of go silent. I don't know what to say about that. Because of personal shit, it just makes me very sad, you know? So I don't really cover that, but I do want to mention it out of respect or just briefly inform you guys if you don't know, especially if any of you are from Rhode Island or in that area. There was a mass shooting today at, what is it, Brown University in Providence? Is that the name of it? I do believe. Anyway, they've been active on the scanners for a minute. We will, here, let me do this because I did want to at least do some due diligence and just inform you, you know. I'm not going to do any commentary on it. People have very, very intense views about that shit. And it's one of those things where it's like, just don't bring up being a vegan in front of Grandpa at Thanksgiving and everyone gets to walk out of here with maybe not, you know, covered in gravy. So I just want to like report it. I'm not going to commentate on it, but it's a little back and forth. Yeah, they were trying to say that there were 20 shot earlier. So there's a lot of misinformation, obviously. They claim that they caught the shooter and then they didn't. But yeah, two deceased, 8 injured is what I heard on the scanner earlier. I think people misinterpreted. They said if it's 20 or more. So here, let me see. I'm going to pull up some information on this. So we're not going to watch this whole thing, but I'm going to show you some scanner stuff from what's going on. People have been posting it on X. There was a police conference. Yeah, if you want to go on X, or I would recommend obviously Broadcastify. That is where you can also get a lot of scanner stuff. That's your little OSINT lesson for today. We finally did an OSINT. Here we go. But yeah, if you ever want to listen to scanners and record them and see the archives from the past, you can do that at Broadcastify. So
92, receiving a call for 184 Hope, east end of building. Caller heard about 5 shots and multiple individuals running. Still trying to gather information.
83 on the way.
10-4, sir. Just want to advise those responding units, we're getting multiple calls all from sort of the same area, Thayer Street, possibly Manning Walk. Also just stating heard shots fired, individuals fleeing, running different directions. No real information. 292.
92.
92. We possibly might have a shooting victim at 167 Thayer. 167 Thayer. Caller's not providing much information other than stating that he was just shot. Manual walk between Thayer and Brook.
Okay.
One of the units responding to us there, he just drove past the victim. He should be at Science Park.
So this goes on and on and on, and it actually goes through it in order. So that's one of the reasons I say, you know, obviously if they talk about it in the press conference and give you a timeline, sure. But if you're trying to get like a timeline and maybe they didn't perhaps, you know, answer these questions at the press conference, I always recommend Broadcastify. I will put a link in the description of this video for you. But yeah, it's very sad, very disappointing that this happened again. And it is kind of crazy because you can see each call at a time as the minutes tick by, every single place they go and the response and how it went. Mass shooting, Brown University, Providence, Rhode Island, has to include the engineering lab, physics building, and other buildings. Shooter was caught in the bathroom. That is at the end of the audio clip. This is the police response audio. If you clip it, at least give me credit. And that is from Dirt Diver 24. Actually, let me show them so that you can see. Let me pull it up so we can get a fully quote so you can see it totally. Here. Right up there. Steve, he's a dog and he wants credit. Dirt _ diver _ 24 _ 7. And that is on X. And he posted the 18-minute and 40-second full response to arrest video, all of the audio from Broadcastify. He put it in video form. So we'll give him a like, and I'll do a little copy link, and I will pop it in here now. So if you guys want to get the official information that maybe I'm not sure if they expressed this at the press conference or not, you can. Okay. So that's what's going on now. Hopefully that, and yeah, go ahead and totally share that here. I'm going to do that right there. All right. So now that's retweeted. So if you already have Twitter and you can't copy paste this link for some reason, and it's just x.com/ and then the name, you can skip the status stuff. It'll pop up at the top. I'm sure it's pinned. So with that said, that's where you can get the Broadcastify audio for that feed that is active and ongoing, but they did catch the guy. And well, it's just a 12-second video. You can't see the guy, but they're putting him in a vehicle. Okay, so next thing, and please stay safe out there. If you are in Rhode Island, I believe it's just that guy, but I mean, I could be fucking wrong. Who knows? They're still in lockdown mode, I think. Are they? Or no, if they did a press conference, they're out of lockdown mode, so that's good. Okay, but prayers to them, and that's just fucking sad. And I hope we do something to try to chill on all the shooting. Okay. This is, I think, yeah, this is the last news story, and then we're gonna do the press conference because this is wild. This is a Kentucky woman named Michelle Marie Newton was kidnapped by a non-custodial parent, went missing for something like 40 years. This is the original news story, and then you're going to see it as it happened. But recently she was found, and I guess she didn't know that she'd been kidnapped, according to quite a few people who were talking about this on Reddit. And I just saw before we went live. So I was like, let's throw that in there because we can learn about it together. But it seemed that this happened. I believe she reconnected with the family in Florida. She is from Kentucky. She has been missing for a really long time, since she was 3, and now she's 40. So there's a lot of misleading headlines saying 42 years, 40 years, but it's absolutely wild. And let's just hear the story because, yeah, another one clipped. And also, this says Sora. I don't trust this. We're going to the actual news clip. Hold on one second. Let me pull that down real quick because I just saw the Sora. I thought this was the OG news clip. Okay, well, we're going to do this one. Hold on one second. All right, we're just going to skip that one and we're going to go straight to the news. I thought someone can you clip the news with Sora? Because it seems to me to always indicate like it's just going to be pure bullshit. All right, so let's learn about this.
I just want to move forward and learn my family and learn my history and who I am.
A Louisville woman reunited with her family decades after her disappearance. Melissa Newton's mother faces charges tonight for abducting her daughter. Deborah Lee Newton appeared in a Jefferson County courtroom 2 weeks after her arrest in Florida. Only DeAndrea Turner sat down today with Melissa and family members who never gave up. DeAndrea?
That's right, Vicki. Tonight, what was once a cold case became a warm reunion. This story is about reuniting, forgiveness, and moving forward.
And we actually had a case exactly like this. I want to say the girl's name was Sabrina. It was here in Austin. Non-custodial parent. The mother kidnaps her, takes her to Mexico. Dad can't find them. Little girl doesn't realize she'd been necessarily kidnapped till she got a little older, but she didn't see it as kidnapping. She saw it as being saved because her mother there was this attachment syndrome, and her mother had basically, I guess told her a lot of really bad stuff about her dad. So when her mom was finally caught, put in prison, her daughter was returned to the custodial parent, which would be her dad. And now she's a teenager at this point when this happens. And all she knows about her dad is he's done horrible things to her mother, who she absolutely loves. So she kind of had to unlearn all of that. And apparently it was a really tough reconnection. So this sounds almost exactly like it, but a much longer time. Also, welcome Tombstones. Nice to see you. Hello. And I see Sherlock Ho is here. Hello. All right. So this woman, 1983 abduction in Kentucky.
Word.
She's always been in our heart. I can't explain that moment when walking in and get to put my arms back around my daughter.
43 years of waiting.
And it's hard to look at her as an adult. When I last seen her, she was a 3-year-old.
For an emotional reunion with his missing daughter, Michelle. We spoke to Joe Newton in 1986 about the case.
Wouldn't you want your child back?
And I'm very confused because multiple news outlets reported her as 40 years old, and they're saying 43 years old, but it's 2025 and she was abducted in 83. And I'm confused, but either way, it's about 4 decades.
At least to see her grow up or, to help her.
In 1983, Joe and his wife, Deborah, were planning to move to Georgia. Deborah left early with their daughter, Michelle. But when Joe arrived, they were gone. And for more than 4 decades, there were no answers.
I've missed them so much. I didn't even know if she was alive.
A Crime Stoppers.
So they thought that something happened to them. They thought, they got abducted or something. They missed them. That's horrifying. To not, I mean, they probably thought they were both kidnapped. That's crazy.
Tip cracked this case this year, leading to Deborah's arrest in Florida and her first court appearance in Jefferson County on Monday.
Yeah, so she gets arrested in Florida. And then, but the situation happened in Kentucky, but the family was on the way to Georgia. I'm sure the multi-jurisdictional element of this probably made it more difficult.
For an individual to have the courage to come up and say, I saw this, this is, I believe, who you're looking for, you are helping a victim and a victim's family so much.
2 weeks ago, Michelle came home from work to police at her door, saying the unthinkable.
You're not who you think you are. You're a missing person. You're Michelle Marie Newton.
In one moment, she went from an only child to discovering an entire family waiting for her. When she and her father finally met, Joe was on the porch waiting.
I wouldn't trade that moment for anything. It was
No.
just like I seen her when she was first born. It was like,
is she pissed at her mom? How pissed would you be? Would you be super duper pissed at your mom? Goddamn.
an angel.
And even with her life upended, her response wasn't anger.
My intention is to support them both through this and try to navigate and help them both just wrap it up so that we can all heal. And hopefully, you know, there's just apologies and start healing.
Starting a new.
Well, that's very forgiving and mature as hell. Damn. That was refreshing. That ended up not being as sad as I thought it would be. There's one girl who took the side of the parent who was going through court and rejected the actual biological family, who seemed very heartbroken. There was the Austin case where they kind of had to slowly merge the dad back. And now with this case, she's like, I support them both. Let's just wrap this shit up. I respect it.
Chapter of forgiveness and moving forward.
And it's still hard to believe that we actually got her back in our life again. And it's a sweet ending.
And you guys, Joe says that he has had 2 miracles this year. First, the heart transplant, the reason why he's still here, and then getting to reunite with his daughter. Deborah will be back in court next month. In the studio, DeAndrea Turner, WOKY News.
The Jefferson County Sheriff's Office just brought a 40-year-old missing persons case to a close, reuniting a long-lost daughter with her family and putting her mother and suspected kidnapper before a judge. Michelle Marie Newton was 3 years old when she was abducted over 40 years ago, and she recently contacted the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office after learning that her true family history.
So do you see how the story's completely changed? Isn't that wild? Because on the first one, I only watched the first part, and I was like, I want to see the rest of this with them. This is a much shorter clip. It's only a minute, but already the information is totally different. Because in the sit-down interview, what did we hear? We heard the police came to the door and informed me I'm kidnapped. And in this one, she went to the police and said, I think something's up. How'd the story change that much?
Learning
and also 40 years, not 43 years. Why is this happening? Why are we getting 2 different stories? Oh my gosh, you guys, it's Steven.
Steven Earmuffs.
Hello, Steven. How are you doing today? This girl got kidnapped by her mom, which can happen. Apparently, according to MTV, you can date your mom. And according to this, you can kidnap by your mom. Your mom can kidnap you. Yeah, this family does kind of confuse. I'm a little confused. Now, we're going to watch one after this where she insists it was a dream. No, I'm just kidding. But in all seriousness, the timing is off. I'm not accusing them of any. It's just weird that the story's so different.
The Jefferson County Sheriff's Office after learning that her true family history while living in another state. Michelle was then reunited with her father, Joseph, and extended family. Colonel Steve Healy with the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office had this to say about.
Goddamn, Colonel Steve. He looks serious as fuck. Those are the biggest fingernails I've ever seen. Has he only got 3 fingers? Sir, are you an AI sheriff? Oh my God. Oh my God, I've never met an AI sheriff before. Damn, he looks scary as shit.
Office had this to say about the emotional reunion.
I just go back to saying that is why we do this job.
Never mind. That is the sweetest, softest. That voice, you know what that voice gives? Wow, I have never been so wrong so fast. I probably have, but I gotta tell you, it kind of reminds me.
Your Honor, defer. Miss Janice.
Judge Athens.
Your Honor, this is so unfair. Your Honor, I think I want to appeal. Your Honor. Your Honor, stop. This is propaganda. Your Honor, this is fake. Don't believe what they say.
God, I love that. Don't believe what they say. This is fake. I would totally throw paper in the air. Also, he does give Your Honor, that's the bailiff just throwing the paper in the air.
Just go back to saying that is why we do this job. And that is the thanks we get in this job is to see.
Dude, does he have flair? He has so much flair. 2 gold pens, Healy. Come on, hun. Damn, what are those? You got some flair. Are those menorahs? Hold on a second. Are you a beautiful gay Jewish sheriff in Kentucky? Because if so, I'm about to shit my pants. Sir, you're a unicorn. Are you the Gady Judd of Kentucky? I love you. Look at all your little award. Is that an Xbox controller? Sir, is your necktie tucked, sir? Is that a fucking Rolly? Do you have a Rolex one, sir? Sir, are you trying to tell me you've been on Kill Tony? I'm so sorry. This guy's a bed ace, all right? I take it back. I went from terrified to like, oh, I'm not scared. And now I feel threatened because look at all of these awards. He's a baddie. He's a bed ace. I love him. I wish he'd be my friend.
Success and victims and families be made whole.
Michelle's mother, Deborah, was identified in Florida after a Crime Stoppers tip.
Could you see this guy getting in a fight with the DWI guy? I don't think it's possible. It would be fun banter and they would reach a stellar compromise like instantly. Like I'm very into this. What a great sheriff. Look at that tie tuck. I love this.
And appeared in Jefferson Circuit Court with an attorney for her arraignment. Deborah now faces a custodial interference charge, which is a felony.
Well, see, first of all, that's the fun of it, Ernie. It could change every... part of the reason I like to pause so much and wait and take little nuggets of the story at a time is because it gives us that opportunity, right? To learn more and then adjust our thinking. And the more we practice adjusting I made all of that up. I don't know. I'm just a little high. Chill, Ernie, chill.
Kentucky. Custodial kidnapping does not have a statute of limitations, meaning she can be prosecuted 40 years after the original crime.
Okay.
This morning, the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office said.
Okay. I want to go back to that adorable sheriff, but I won't. All right. So it's time to watch the press conference and then cry about John Cena. Okay, are you guys ready? Okay. Hold on, let me pull this down real quick. And of course, we have to do this. Yeah. No, you're right. We got to do that. Shit, I almost forgot. We have a lot to do. We got to do, first of all, I got to tell you guys.
Hi. You're both high.
Okay. And then I got to remind you.
Send this to someone on the Epstein list. Hello, scoundrel. If you are panicking right now because you may have done some crimes, don't worry. Using airtight logic, I've designed a fashion that will absolve you of any sin. I am not on the Epstein list. And also there is no list. And also there is one, but it's fake. Please comment. Obama made me do it.
Okay, and then the last one, and we will begin. Are you ready? You need this.
Get on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. Big boy ain't getting on the roof. Never see a big boy get on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. Big boy ain't getting on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy drill on the roof. Never seen a big boy drill on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy drill on the roof. Big boy drilling on the roof. Big boy drilling on the roof. Big boy ain't drilling on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. Big boy ain't climbing on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. How you do it like that? Damn, you got titties on your back. Climbing on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. Shit, big boy get loose. Shit, big boy get loose. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. I ain't never shit, and you falling on the roof. I ain't never see a big boy hop on the roof. How you do it like that? Shit, you just make a back. Shit, pick up your back. I ain't never see a big boy get on the roof. Get on the roof. Get on the roof. Get your ass out the roof. Get your ass back out the roof. I ain't never see a big boy leap on the roof. Take a big ass out.
Oh, these are one take boys. They just felt the music and let it guide them like a snake out of a basket. Okay, we're going to go ahead and start. So I'm going to give you a heads up what I did here. I took the press conferences. What I wanted to get was timelines and facts, okay? There are statements made, rogue statements, if you will, by lawyers. There are questions asked by the police or to the police by journalists that are difficult to hear. And I wanted to include both of those. But what I did was I adjusted I leveled it, basically. I took out the background fuzz as best as I could. I lifted the lows, raised the high. I did everything that I need to do so that it's all like, it's not shifting up and down in volume. And so that when they ask the questions, you can hear it good, because before you couldn't hear shit. So it's hard to do it. It's hard to figure it all out in context, which is why we weren't able to get a full and complete timeline. Because, there's that. And then on the other one with the attorney, you can hardly see the chart. So I tried to enhance that. Yes, John Cena died. So, no, he didn't die. Tonight's his last match, his retirement match. He's putting over Gunther, who said he's going to tap him out. We'll see what happens on Saturday night main event. And Jesse the Body Ventura is on commentary. And holy shit, that guy's insane. Also, oh my God, nice to see you, hun. I know you love that song. I sent you the download, right? If you go to the SoundCloud, it should allow you to download it now. I went through and made all of them downloadable just for you, by the way. I hope you're doing good. So yeah. It would be cool to get haunted by him, but you wouldn't see him anyway, so it's fine. So, yeah, no, he's alive. My love language is you believing I had nothing to do with the JFK assassination hoodie. That's what you got from Marcus Bork. That's amazing. I love that so much. I'm going to be putting up my own merch in the next 2 days and taking some old shit down. So go purge the merch if you want. I'm going to see if it'll let me lower prices on the old shit before I do that. And then I'm going to do, they said that there's enough time for Christmas and for Hanukkah. But it's like holiday shirts, it sucks because you can only wear them for a few days. Like, it's not, I get annoyed at holiday gear. You know what I mean? It's like, why are we doing this? Why did I buy this? I'm not going to be able to fit into this next year. Wicked Brennan as the Zodiac. Dude, I had that on a list, and I was actually supposed to look into whether or not he could sue me. But then it occurred to me, I don't have anything. So sue, you're not going to get shit. It's going to be another Ron Goldman situation. That's upsetting for them, but I have nothing. Have you seen the mom's interview on Nancy Grace? Yeah. And it's a little difficult. Are you talking about with wait, which case are you talking about? Because I've been watching a lot of Nancy Grace lately, and are you talking about Brianna's? I was just watching her talking about David, and there was another case that she was on. She's been popping up in my algorithm, and it's insane, dude. Yeah, she dropped her glove at King Road, admitted it openly. You could totally see it there. And the conspiracy theorists are still like, that's the real killer's glove. Okay, so then Nancy did it. What do you want from us? Like, it's so wild. You got your shirts for me super fast last time. Okay, I'll pop up a few holiday shirts. But yeah, if Brennan can't sue me, I was thinking of doing that one or the Ted Cruz one. Yeah, she totally did. She totally did. And then there was a blue one left behind by the forensic techs that everyone freaked out over, but they just turned around and picked it up and threw it away or put it in their little satchel. So it's not that shit was crazy. Okay, so I adjusted the levels. I sped it up to 1.1 because there's times when it's kind of too all over the place, like either fast or slow. We already watched the press conference with the mom speaking, but because she's not giving the timeline and we're trying to just chart the evidence here, I left off her part because with this situation, again, we don't want any speculation. We want the straight up what has been told to the family and the attorney, right? What has been the statement given by APD, both on the news and in the press conference, and then what timelines do they each give and compare those. Nancy was being very it reminded me too much of like the Sebastian Rogers shit when it was just very like a lot of I wanted to hear more timeline stuff and less, I guess, oh my God, just intensity from Nancy. Like it was a lot. She seemed to be asking a lot of the same questions that we already had answered. And then just re-explaining processes. It was fucking weird. So I don't like it when she also like sometimes she can treat the victim's family like they're in an interrogation, and sometimes she can over coddle them and then snap and heel turn, and it spooks me. Because I think that can be really scary for a family who's going through trauma and you don't want to risk, upsetting them. But yeah, she is an instigator. That's for sure. Okay, my school is doing a whole holiday gear next week and I'm huge and pregnant. No, I'm wasting my money. Yeah, exactly. I need to figure out it. I think there's baby gear in the store. I'll make something for Colt Baby and send it to you. Our first Colt Baby. This is exciting. Okay, so we're going to watch this. I'm going to let them talk, and every time we get to a fact or something that is timeline related or evidence related, or a witness sighting. So those are the things we're mainly going to be tracking. I'm going to jot that down. And if you guys notice something and I don't pause it, if it's something that is either witness statement, timeline, or like evidentiary fact, if it's circumstantial, if it's something that could be put in evidence, feel free to shout out in the comments if I miss something, because I'm not God. I'm not John Cena. I don't get them all. Okay. So let's just keep track of this, and we're going to watch this. And there are certain parts where I know that they're not necessarily talking about, evidentiary stuff. And like, especially with the lawyer when not so much the APD, but the lawyer when he's making, a lot of statements that are more like opinion based and, expressing anger from the family or like the insistence to investigate. Yes, absolutely. But we might skip some of that because we have already seen both of these. So get out your pens. Let's take notes. Dad made this for you, and I didn't even use Kappa Cut. I used Clip Champ.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for being here. First, I want to offer my deepest condolences to Brianna Aguilera's family, friends, and loved ones. I stand before you as the chief of police, but first and foremost as a mother. I have 3 daughters and a son, and I cannot begin to imagine the pain that Brianna's family is feeling. As a parent, none of us want to contemplate the loss of a child, and again, my heart aches for them. Before I turn this over to our lead detective, I want to be clear about a few things. It is not common for a police department to speak publicly about a death by suicide, but inaccurate information has circulated and been reported.
And this is actually true of APD. I was looking into this, found out for 2 reasons. Number one, it's not so much APD, but the media here in Austin, a lot of the newspapers have expressed that they have policies or practices as far as ethical reporting goes that pretty much obligate them to try to avoid reporting suicides for the sole reason that they found that the more suicides they report on, the suicide rates locally go up. So once I guess the study came out, there were a lot of news stations here that pledged not to report them for fear of copycats or people being influenced perhaps by the news. Simultaneously, the police do it more because it is a private personal situation and it can blurrily fall under different areas as far as HIPAA violations go, things like that. There's just a lot. Especially if it's not something that is an obvious or outward homicide, is how they've expressed it in the past. Now, I can attest that when it comes to cases like some of the bodies in the lake, yes, you're going to find a couple of news reports on suicide. Why? Specifically because as far back as like 10 years, maybe even a little further back, people have been trying to push this serial killer narrative, which pisses everyone off because everyone who lives here that has half a fucking brain knows that the problem is the infrastructure, how the lake is set up. It's in the biggest, drunkest district in Texas. There's no railing, there's no lights. The woods immediately drop down into rocks, and those bridges are high. You get wasted people. Of course, this happens. It happens all the time. Then consider all the drunk people on the boats jumping into the water that drown. Then consider drug overdoses that jump into the water and drown. Then consider bad swimmers that jump into the water and drown. And then consider, the cases where it's an unusual circumstance. In the 4 that I have seen reported directly quickly as a suicide, all of those had notes with them, or they called and left messages saying exactly what they were doing, how they were going to do it. And I believe 3 of the 4, there was video of them doing it. So, in like 10 or 15 years, there have not been a ton of these reports given by the media, but there's way fewer given by police. So just want to point that out. And that's going to be my longest rant. Let's go.
That has led to additional harm of innocent people, bullying included, and their families. There have also been statements suggesting the police have failed to do our jobs. Those statements are not accurate. I understand how grief and the need for answers can raise intense emotions and many questions. But sometimes the truth doesn't provide the answers we are hoping for, and that is this case. Please know that careful investigations take time. We must interview witnesses, collect evidence.
First, I'd like to start off by saying that our deepest sympathies and condolences go out to Brianna and her family. During this investigation, I've had a chance to speak with numerous members of her family and friend group, both here in Austin and College Station and in Laredo. All of them, it's completely apparent that she was very much loved. Every friend and witness during this investigation has been nothing but forthcoming and open during the entire time I've spoken with them. I've been in contact with dozens of people over the past week, and every single one of them has answered my calls, my text, submitted to interviews, and helped give answers from the moment that I've asked for that help. This also includes several people submitting to second interviews freely and without hesitation. The location this happened at, the 21 Rio Apartments, have also been helpful since the very beginning of this investigation. They've allowed us around-the-clock access to the apartment which Brianna was last seen at, as well as access to their internal camera system, which has been very beneficial in establishing a timeline of that evening's events. On Saturday, November 29th, at approximately 12:46 a.m., the Austin police officers responded to a call of a deceased person located at 2101 Rio Grande Street. The decedent, later identified as Brianna Aguilera, was located on the ground with trauma consistent to having fallen from a higher floor.
Damn it, I'm muted. I'm so sorry. Okay, couple of things. All right. They got the call at 12:46 a.m. Okay. He said a couple of really important things. He said they've been given 24/7 access, round the clock access to the internal camera systems. Okay. So that's pretty important, right? But what's interesting is he specifically said for the purpose of establishing a timeline. So he made it very clear. And this answers a question that we 100% were, I think, all wanting to double check or asking the last time we talked about this case, which was, I wonder how they established this timeline other than text messages. Like, we know that they had the camera footage, but did they see her? Like, how did they, what was the, because they didn't talk to the friends until the next day at 1, right? And they called and reported her missing at at noon, but her mother had already called at 4 a.m. and then come up there, and her mother didn't even know she was dead till 4 p.m. The friends were interviewed, the 3 girls in the apartment, around 1 p.m., noon or 1 p.m. And what's interesting is he straight up says, we used the internal cameras and a 24/7 access to establish our timeline. So we know that that's kind of where they started. Okay. At 12:46 a.m., they get the call. The other thing is, he said, we located a victim with signs that they had fallen. And he specifically said fall trauma. He said signs consistent with fall trauma, I believe. Let's hear exact words one more time.
On Saturday, November 29th, at approximately 12:46 a.m., the Austin police officers responded to a call of a deceased person located at 2101 Rio Grande Street.
Okay. So a call for a deceased person. So she was already dead. Okay. According to the caller. And they did say that it was a ton of trauma. Okay. So it was pretty obvious, right? However, they did not declare her dead until 10 minutes after she was reported. So you got to remember, it's going to take 2 to 3 minutes for the cops to get there. They're going to check the body and they're going to declare her dead. And then the Emmy or the coroner, whoever's on scene, they could also use a justice of the peace if they're available right there. They would essentially call it, and her time of death was 10 minutes later. So that's what happened. They called, they said there's a deceased person at 12:46. All right. He said fall trauma.
The decedent, later identified as Brianna Aguilera, was located on the ground with trauma consistent to having fallen from a higher floor.
Okay. Located on the ground with trauma consistent with having fallen from a higher floor. So he said fallen. He didn't say pushed, and he didn't say jumped or having jumped. He said fallen. So that kind of answers a question we had, is what kind of words did he use?
Brianna was pronounced deceased at 12:56 a.m.
Yeah, so exactly 10.
I, along with crime scene specialists, responded to process the scene and interview witnesses. A witness informed officers that they had heard a sound of a thud and then observed a female on the ground. Initially, it was unknown who the
Okay, hold on. So that was another question. We knew that there were witnesses. Remember, I told you guys how there had to be someone downstairs manning the front desk, right? So a witnesses heard a thud. That is, you hear a thud, right? You go check it out. You probably immediately get on your phone. It's going to log that call, right? But they just heard it. So they're going to know what time they heard it. That is also very important because they can compare that with the time she hung up the phone. So now we know how they got the exact time of her death. And also 12:56 is when someone called, and it was the guy walking down the sidewalk. So guy walks down the sidewalk, sees the body. Witnesses had heard a thud, and then he called the police. So this all happened right away.
Was and on what floor she had fallen. The medical examiner arrived on scene, and the body was taken to the medical examiner's office, where she was later positively identified.
Okay, so she went to the ME's office. She was positively identified later. So the witnesses heard the thud. And then they said, let me go back a little bit, and then we'll let it play for a minute.
a.m. I, along with crime scene specialists, responded to process the scene and interview witnesses. A witness informed officers that they had heard a sound of a thud and then observed a female on the ground. Initially, it was unknown who the decedent was and on what floor she had fallen. The medical examiner arrived on scene, and the body was taken to the medical examiner's office, where she was later positively identified. In the meantime, I was able to contact one of the employees at the 21 Rio Apartments at approximately 6 a.m. that same morning. The staff at 21 Rio were cooperative throughout this entire investigation. By approximately 10 a.m., we were able to access the camera's system inside the apartment complex, which shows us the hallway areas. It was found that Brianna had arrived at the apartment complex just after 11 p.m. on Friday, November 28th, and that she went into a specific apartment on the 17th floor. Video surveillance has confirmed that a large group of friends left that same apartment at 12:30 a.m. on November 29th, leaving just Brianna and 3 other girls in the apartment. Now on Saturday, November 29th.
Okay, so she goes up to the 17th floor, okay, at 11 p.m. An hour and a half later, 12:30, a bunch of people leave. So 12:30 is 16 minutes before she's dead. So these people are already long gone. And we know that she's going to borrow the phone from the friend. Let's go ahead and let it go because we already know a lot of this. I already have a bunch of this written down. But this is all stuff that we pretty much already knew. But at 12:30, a bunch of people left. So those people are gone. So everyone, like, they need to interview every single person at that party, sure, to get like an idea of, was anyone fighting? Did you see the 3 girls? Like, because they were gone. Everybody else was gone. So let's keep going.
At approximately 12:54 p.m., I, along with patrol officers, made contact with the residents of that specific apartment that Brianna had been observed going into. The residents informed me that they were trying to report that their friend Brianna was missing. I was able later to confirm they had in fact placed a 911 call at 12:14 p.m. earlier that afternoon to report their friend Brianna was missing. They informed me that they were hosting friends for the Texas A&M football game and that Brianna was supposed to be staying there that preceding evening. I spoke with 3 different female witnesses on scene, as well as later a 4th witness who had left earlier that morning. The investigation showed that Brianna had been at a tailgate party earlier in the day and became intoxicated to a point that she was asked to leave the same tailgate. She had told her friends that she had lost her phone.
No, it wasn't because there was fighting. It was like 30 people there. So these apartments, they're very small, and they probably, I'm not sure if they got a noise complaint or what, but usually, you know, when you have 2 hours left to go to the bar, if they run out of booze, the bars are all downstairs. So it's likely that all the guys and everybody left either to go to a bar because they had 2 more hours to drink, or probably the 3 girls wanted to go to sleep. So all those other people have been apparently cleared. They've all been spoken to multiple times. They were like, sure, you know, yeah, we'll talk to you. There's no reason to suspect them. I don't think it's suspicious because it's 12:30. They could have been drunk and just want to go back home because they all live within the same like 3-block radius. Like all these people. It was a massive football game. So yeah, it's not that unusual for a party to clear out with so they could go do like power hour. You got to remember these are frat kids.
At some point near that tailgate, they had all returned to the apartment where Brianna borrowed a phone of a friend to call an out-of-town boyfriend.
Okay, so everybody leaves. She can't find her phone. Why? Because her phone is in the woods. Because she got wasted and she tossed her shit in the woods. So her phone got tossed in the woods by her. She did get in a, yeah, he said at the beginning, everybody was interviewed. They spoke to them all at least twice. They've spoken to them, and these kids are still getting death threats. And some of them, like, imagine you go to a party, you leave, everything's fine. 30 minutes later, this happens, and now people are threatening to kill you on Instagram. Like, it's a real bummer for them. So I totally get it. And a lot of people are giving the girl who lives there shit and the 3 friends. Here's the thing. People are acting like these girls didn't know each other. They grew up together. They're from Laredo. These girls chose to go to UT, some of them, and she went to A&M. I think 1 or 2 of them did, and they're excited to see each other. Everyone at the party was interviewed and the 3 girls. So every single person and the staff, and they got cameras, and there's cameras outside pointing up at the balcony. So chances are they are likely going to, you know what I mean, keep that under their vest. Or, you know, they might be getting some of the footage cleaned up right now, which is why they say it's under investigation. But they also might simply be saying it's not a homicide because they don't have to tell us whether it is or not. They could be saying that in the hopes that if it were, someone doesn't flee. You know what I mean?
Witnesses heard Brianna arguing on the phone with her boyfriend, which was also confirmed later by the boyfriend. Phones from both the phone Brianna used and the boyfriend's phone have confirmed through call logs that call did occur. Now, this call occurred at approximately 12:43 to 12:44 a.m., approximately 1 minute. This is 2 minutes before the 911 call of the body found down below on the pavement. On Saturday, November 29th, it was found that Brianna's mother, Stephanie Rodriguez, had called the Austin Police Department at 12.
So here's what's weird. She hung up, and according to a friend, she walked inside and gave her back her phone. But also in another statement, it was put out there, I don't know if it was by the mom or by them. We want to watch out for this if they say the girl was asleep. Because I thought they said the other girls were asleep and didn't hear anything. Now we're hearing that there was a fight. Well, was this fight witnessed by other people on the balcony or by those 3? Also, she gave her phone back and then goes back outside and just jumps off the balcony. Pretty weird. She's like, what, 5'2"? Those railings aren't super high. They're not like up to my tits, but they're right below them. And I'm 5'9". Like, I don't understand that part.
50 p.m. This was in an attempt to locate Brianna. Rodriguez called back an hour later at 2 p.m. stating the location of her daughter's missing phone. The phone was located by Austin police officers in a wooded area by 3:30 p.m. that afternoon near Walnut Creek in a field by the Austin Rugby Club.
And
through this investigation, it was found
the Austin Rugby Club is like a bar here, and that's where, or a play. It's where they were doing bar shit. They were partying. Just a heads up.
that Brianna had attended the tailgate on Friday, November 28th at the Austin Rugby Club, arriving between 4 and 5 p.m. and then leaving at approximately 10 p.m. Witnesses stated that after Brianna...
That's 5 hours of drinking for a tiny frame, 5'2" girl. That even her mom said when she gets drunk, I mean, she did get kicked out. She did punch someone and she threw her phone in the woods. So I'd say she might have been a little sauced.
Asked to leave the tailgate, she had repeatedly dropped her phone and staggered into a nearby wooded area where her phone and other items were later located by Austin police. Just after 4 p.m. on Saturday, November 29th, officers from the scene paged homicide to inform them that they had located the property belonging to Brianna and determined that there was also a separate deceased person call with the same name. Rodriguez was notified of Brianna's death just before 5 p.m. Brianna's phone was placed with the rest of her property still on the 17th floor of the apartment for her family to later receive. On Monday, December 1st, the mother and father of Brianna met with victim services and those of us in the homicide office at police headquarters. There, Rodriguez turned over Brianna's phone and gave it back to us. A further review of Brianna's phone shows a deleted digital suicide note dated Tuesday, November 25th of this year, which was written to specific people in her life. From the moment this call originated up until now, between all of the witness statements, all of the video evidence, and all of the digital evidence collected, at no time did any evidence point to this being anything of a criminal nature. Rather, our investigation has revealed that unfortunately Brianna had made suicidal comments previously to friends back in October of this year. This continued through the evening of her death with some self-harming actions earlier in the evening and a text message to another friend indicating the thought of suicide. We recognize that hearing news like this can be difficult and may affect members of the community in very personal ways. If you or someone you know is experiencing emotional distress or mental health struggles, support is available. You can call or text 988 to reach the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline, or contact Integral Care's 24-hour helpline at 5.
I don't know, but I don't believe so. I think the family said they didn't even go out on the balcony to look. But also, we don't necessarily know that because they didn't exactly go into detail on what they checked. So that could be that they didn't tell the mom every single fucking thing they did, and she presumed that, or it could be that she asked that. But when we're gonna see that in a minute, we're gonna rewatch it. And we're gonna see that. I am gonna speed it up just a tiny bit. Here we go.
512-472-HELP. That's 512-472-4357 to be connected with local crisis services, including mobile response teams. No one should have to navigate these kind of crises alone. Any questions?
Now open up for questions.
Oh, you're not okay?
Job. Go ahead, Brianna.
Couple things. Was the mom made aware of these previous suicidal comments when you guys figured that out during the investigation? And I know a big part of this is trying to address some online speculation. So just wanted to bring up something that people have brought up about concerns about fights that Brianna may have gotten in with other people in that apartment.
Sure. The first part first. I was in contact with Brianna's mother beginning Saturday afternoon. We spoke through Sunday and Monday through the meeting here. Since then, I've attempted 4 times to contact her. I wanted to share this information privately. She did not reply to any of my attempts to talk to her until yesterday afternoon, where she asked me to talk to her lawyer. So I've not been in contact with her mother. However, her father, I have been in contact with. He knows all of this information as of yesterday. And then secondly, the fight.
Yeah.
There have been online reports of a fight. The only evidence that we have of any kind of physical altercation was Brianna punching one of her friends as they tried to help her out of the party. We have no evidence of any other altercation.
Did the witnesses that y'all talked to give any reason why they didn't call 911 earlier that night?
So most of those witnesses, between the time of night that it was, they slept for some periods of time. They do have some text messages. They were worried. They assumed, because so many friends from their hometown were here in Austin staying at different locations, they had assumed she probably just went back out with another friend group that was in the immediate area, and nobody had any idea.
Did anyone watch her go over the balcony?
No, ma'am. No, we have no evidence to suggest that.
Oops. So they don't mention anything about a therapist. I could vaguely speculate that culturally where she's from and some of the feelings expressed by her parents could indicate that maybe that wasn't something that, she seemed very much like, you're going to be a lawyer. And they, I don't know how to explain it, but like almost like the power of prayer type of people, which is very, very common here. And especially in Laredo also, like she could have been going to therapy. We don't know, but it seems like in the other press conference, you'll see the mom says that it's comments like, ugh, kill me. Like she says shit like that to her friends. And yeah, it doesn't really say much more than that. Was anyone worried their purse was missing with her phone? No, they knew that like she clearly, like when she got back, she couldn't find her phone. So they probably thought maybe she lost it somewhere. Like you know what I mean? It's like you're out with your friends and everybody's fucked up. And then one of your friends is like, let me use your phone. I can't find mine. Like and then the next day you call it and it's not in the apartment, right? It's out in the woods. So you don't hear it. So you're like, well, we don't hear it in the apartment. So she must not be here. She must have gone somewhere. And I cannot stress enough how super common that is. Like, this is an area where until 4 or 5 a.m., you can walk in any direction and probably find something to eat. I mean, I know you can. Like, there's a bunch of it's literally stacks and stacks of student housing. It's relatively safe compared to other parts of Austin, but it does have its crazy moments. Wait, what was? It was outside. It was outside. And then she borrowed her friend's phone to call her ex. But that was all like in the woods. And apparently she wouldn't put her shit in the woods. So that was way before. That was like 2 hours before. When she was punching. But like imagine that you have a drunk friend who's wasted, that she's tiny, she's wasted, it's football night. You're trying to get her out of a bar. She's punching you. She's been running into the woods. She's acting crazy. She's, crying about her boyfriend. And you take her up to a party that's just kind of wrapping up. And the girls who live there are probably like, fuck, this is loud. You guys probably ought to go. You know, this is a small 2-bedroom. So, and everybody pours out, and it's the 3 girls, and our friend is here visiting, but she's fucking wasted. And she's like, I don't have my phone. Can I use your phone? And they're like, why? Why do you need to use mine? Because I'm going to call it. Don't fuck, you're drunk. You're going to, no, fuck that. I'll fucking call. Let me do it. I'll fucking break up with shit like that. And then you go, oh, shit. So then she gives her phone and says, okay, there you go borrow it. And then at this point, this is where the statements differ. One says, you know, I think it was the parent said something like the girls were asleep. We were told the girls were asleep. Right here, they're saying she gave the phone back. So clearly they weren't asleep because Brianna died a minute later. And then the people inside said the 3 girls, apparently she was like, one of them said that they couldn't hear anything. And the lawyer criticized that. But in the statement we're getting from police, it seems that, you know, they heard fighting. And then she got her phone back. And then the mom, I believe, even had kind of a different statement a little bit. And it was more along the lines of like, you know, something like there was an argument and then she gave her the phone. And then all of a sudden she's dead. And how can that be that they saw nothing? And it's like, well, they heard something, but they didn't see something. So it's a little convoluted there, but let's continue.
Can you share more about that deleted note that you mentioned? When was that deleted, and do you have information about how that was deleted?
So that phone is currently with our digital forensics units to be processed. It is being processed as of last night. I just know the date of it. I don't know exactly when it was typed, but I found it in the deleted items folder. That's about all I can say at this point.
I believe it is confirmed by the lawyer. It was created for, first he said a creative writing class she took months ago, and then the lawyer said it was created on the 25th and deleted on the 25th, which would have been within 3 days before. So that was kind of weird because that was one contradiction I remember we noticed in the last video. Let's continue.
The date from the deleted item was from November the 25th. So it appears that's when it was written.
Okay, so he says the same thing.
In the absence of
this makes sense.
The chatter that happened online about this, how would you handle this investigation?
I hated the chatter probably as much as her family and everybody and the living witnesses hate it. The problem is I can't make a public statement until I interview everyone. And several of these people we had interviewed 2 times. Video takes hours and hours, not only to get, but then to go through and process and look at. Her phone takes hours to go through. I've never been a part of an investigation that's happened as fast as I wanted to. We always wanted to go faster. But in this case, so many people knew her. So many people wanted to help us. Just to dig through all that information, unfortunately, it has taken 3 or 4 days.
How certain would you say y'all are? Sorry, certain y'all are in this determination?
Just every investigation, we have to rely on the evidence, and all evidence in this case is indicative of suicide.
Can you share a little bit more about who was inside the apartment at the time that she fell? And were you able to speak to all of those people?
I won't share their names, obviously. Yes, I've been able to speak with every single person in there. All of them multiple times, actually, throughout this. They were just all friends. Again, this is all a large friend group from Laredo.
Is there anything that you can share about what she was last seen wearing? I've heard from a couple of people that they were questioning some of the wardrobe that was seen after the fact.
I'll speak to that. She was found wearing the same stuff she was wearing at the tailgate. Part of the reason it took 4 hours for the video surveillance, she was wearing something slightly different when she arrived back at the apartment. So that kind of threw things off to actually locate her. But she was wearing the exact same stuff from earlier.
It took a bit, I would say, to notify the mom. Was that because they'll have to go through a need and do the identification, or what?
Sure. Yeah, it took a while to positively identify her, but on top of that, as Detective Marshall had mentioned, about around 2 p.m. on that Saturday is when they'd actually set the gears in motion to try to notify her. So she had called about 12:50, and she was notified that same afternoon.
We'll take 2 more questions.
You mentioned an argument with her boyfriend before her death. How soon did that happen before her death, and were you able to make contact with him as well?
So I have spoken with him multiple times. That phone call happened approximately 2 minutes before the 911 call of her reporting her on the sidewalk.
Part of her mom's questioning is that you talked to friends or people that were in the apartment till Sunday. Maybe you said it at the timeline, can you tell us again when you started talking to people?
We first identified the apartment very late morning, early afternoon on Saturday. We talked to them immediately that very same time. And like I said, since then, we've spoken multiple times to everyone that was in the apartment.
I just want to say, I do believe that's true. I believe the first time that they spoke to the friends would have been around noon, when the friends tried to make a report. It's totally normal, by the way. Big time alert to all the fucking people out there. If you have drain damage from Delphi or Idaho, where you're sitting there like making the worst assumptions of all kids, maybe Libby's pregnant, maybe the Idaho girls had a drug house, get fucked, okay? Just enough. Like, grow up, okay? Yeah, kids will do drugs sometimes in college. Yeah, little girls will try to go on the internet and talk to strangers. That happens, okay? But it doesn't happen every single fucking time, all right? And there is a whole lot. Like, the second people were like, why did it take so long for Dylan? They were fucking wasted. They're in, and no, not because it's a drug house. They were playing fucking beer pong all night and getting twisted on tees and drinking the claws. And they're not 50-year-olds from Boston who can like create a fucking alibi and a scene and plan and chart a bunch of shit like Jess Machado in a couple of fucking hours while hammered on Crystal Light vodka. Like, they're kids who are slowly becoming adults. They're frail, they're feeble, they're a little noodle brained, and they're fucking shit hammered. Okay. So when they go to sleep, they sleep like logs usually. Remember when you were shit hammered in your early 20s or fucked up or on mushrooms or whatever you did? Like, that is literally what they do. Oh my God, they were asleep till fucking 10, till noon. Bitch, in college, there were days I didn't get up till 2 or 3 p.m. Fuck yourself. Good for you. You're so righteous. You get up at 6 a.m. and you call your whole fucking family and let them know you're alive. Nobody does that. Oh, well, every time I have something insane and traumatic happen to me, I don't presume it's a dream. I wake up the whole neighborhood and I call the police immediately because I immediately become clear-headed in the face of trauma when I'm a young teen and someone's trying to murder my whole family. Get fucked. People react and respond differently. What would have been weird is if she got a mop and a bucket and started cleaning the crime scene and then fucking got her nails done. That would be weird. But shaking and shivering barefoot outside while heaving and crying and having that, like, is Dylan an Oscar winner? Because that was not a performance. That was pure fucking trauma. And anybody dumb enough to think that these girls would run a coup to what? Destroy their lives so that nasty assholes on the internet could creepily go to their house, Ryan Upchurch style? Like, get the fuck out of here. And I've already seen, I'm sorry I'm going on this rant, so many people. I've seen so many people. Well, it's weird that they didn't call till noon. No, it's fucking not. They're college kids. They're getting fucked up at a tailgate. UT versus Aggies, nonetheless. I'm surprised that anybody could stand up before 4 p.m. This is Auburn, Bama territory. And it's in Texas, in the second drunkest fucking bar district in the United States, I believe, is West Campus. Like, you are surrounded by co-ops and hippies. Everybody's the kid who said he might have been a witness and heard something was talking about how he sold everybody mushrooms. Like, goddamn. He walked into a bar and he sold people mushrooms. He just talked about it on TikTok. And all these frat kids bought them. Like, that's welcome to college. That's what it's like. If you missed it, it's fucking crazy. So I don't think it's weird at all that these kids woke up. Oh, you mean they went to bed at 3 and they slept for 9 fucking hours while completely shit hammered off their ass? Like, that is wild. It's not that wild. It's normal. It's absolutely normal for kids to sleep too long because they're in college and they had a party. Okay. But anyway, I saw a lot of those comments of people just being like, why didn't they? It's weird that they stayed asleep through that. Like, it was 17 floors down. You think that they would hear? I don't know. I don't know that they would. They probably heard an argument. She got her phone back. Homegirl walked outside. She probably gave it back to her by having to go into the girl's room, close the door behind her, done. Like, she didn't hear anything. She didn't hear anything. It's so weird, though, how many people were trying to make these kids out as devious murderers. If you look at the pictures of them with her on Instagram, it's like they didn't. I mean, I don't think any of them could pick any of the others up. They're all so tiny, and there were no men there. There were no big ass dudes. So it just, I mean, I don't know. I'm starting to think more and more that maybe the weird shit, though, is the stuff we've already addressed, like the whole handing back the phone versus they're asleep. I would like some clarity on that. But so far, we have what we have. And he said she got her phone back. So that's what we have. Hello, Vermont Bread. Hello, Peter. You're not out of place, Peter. You're not out of place. And I'm glad you're happy to discover. I think John Cena is going to be on a minute, so we got to hurry. I am going to be, let me see. Oh, yeah. I got this coming up right there where I just say discuss. Okay.
Weeks before Christmas.
Now we are going to, there's going to be parts we skip ahead on here because I really want to get to, where's his timeline? Let me just get to his timeline. I want to get to the timeline because a lot of this other stuff is a lot of like, we are appalled. Here we go. The thing is, the other witness is what's interesting to me. Now, he does say, oh, they left them plenty of time to create a false narrative. Well, these are the type of bitches that probably have their sleep apps on. So I'm sure they could check that too. And they did get all of their information, I believe. So let's see what he has to say here. And we are going to skip to, let me get right here.
This conference today.
Here we go. At this stage.
They gave the family no notice of the press conference. They sent 2 emails, and then the detective went on.
He's pissed off about the behavior. Hold on. Let's get.
But everyone knows that investigations are supposed to remain confidential until the investigation is complete.
Yeah.
60 to 90 days. Yet you had the so-called lead detective, in front of millions of people saying that he had concluded.
So we know that they did a press conference because the mother wouldn't respond, and they had to reach out to the lawyer. Right? So we know that. So we're going to skip that part. That's a lot of. Okay, right here, though.
It's like the Keystone Cops over there in Austin. And it's incredibly frustrating to this family. Ask the medical examiner to do a toxicology report.
Yeah, here it is.
We don't have the
okay.
The medical examiner.
So the autopsy has not been completed. He says that they wanted them to perform a rape kit, right? We do find out at the end that they did perform a rape kit. And it has been sent off. So what else is there? You know? Yeah, I think, well, they said that they interviewed everybody twice. They cooperated. Some of the 1 or 2 of the girls commented to friends in some, man, people are messy with their screenshots. It's like FKR. A bunch of people who have chatted with the girls, they posted screenshots. I think they got taken down, but they might still be available on Reddit where the girls were like, yeah, we let them see our phone. Like they literally did during the interview, but they're not going to do a full extraction on them because there was no, basically they'll look at the phone, right? And they can literally swipe it right there. Here in Austin, we have a lot of these tools where you can, it's crazy. It's just like in the Stephen Stearns case, like you can swipe the phone on the go. So they would likely swipe it and then they would see no connection between the phone calls. They were able to, I believe, get the calls from the boyfriend's phone to verify the calls with the other girls and then vice versa. And apparently that's what happened. But it's not so much that they say that didn't happen. They just failed to answer the question. And I think he's making an assumption.
narrative or color witnesses' interpretation of the facts. Everything that detective did yesterday. That's exactly what he did. Do you realize that the autopsy has not been completed? Now, I want you to let that soak in for a minute. The autopsy has not been completed. The medical examiner's office told us that it will not be completed for 60 to 90 days, yet you had the so-called lead detective in front of millions of people saying that he had concluded that this was a suicide. Now, how unprofessional is that?
So it seems that he said at this point in the investigation, we have no evidence to determine that there was any foul play in this case. And then they said that, where is it? All evidence that we've gathered is indicative of a suicide, but it is currently an ongoing investigation. So I would say he kind of misled the words a little bit there.
The police department asked the medical examiner to do a toxicology report. We don't have the results of that toxicology report, yet this investigator stood in front of all of you and said that he had concluded this was a suicide, even though by law he doesn't have the authority to make that conclusion. Only the medical examiner has that authority.
Well, again, he didn't say he concluded. He said at this time, all evidence is indicative of a suicide, but this is still an ongoing investigation.
The police department also asked for a rape kit to be done.
Okay, right here. The police department also asked for a rape kit to be done.
They admitted to us yesterday in a Zoom call that, well, if they do the rape kit, we don't even know where they're going to send it to.
Well, if they do the rape kit, we don't even know who they're going to send it to because they're the police. The medical examiner and the hospital are the ones who do that. So that's who you would ask because they're the ones who send it off. They send it off to a lab. So, and he also answers this later when he says the medical examiner did a rape kit. So I don't understand this part.
This is what we're dealing with, and that's the reason we're involved. It's like the Keystone Cops over there in Austin. And it's incredibly frustrating to this family. Why would the Austin Police Department?
Yeah, I don't know if you guys can tell, but I've definitely shifted the more that I've read in local groups, specifically from friends of friends and kids that I have no idea who they are, but they're in these groups, Reddit threads, my local next door. I know a guy who lives in that building, a bunch of residents that are in, I mean, I don't want to say where I live, but I'm not too far from there. So like I'm all the surrounding areas. I have that on the map and people be talking. And I'll tell you this much. Yeah, it seems like the police are holding their cards close to their vests, specifically because it seems this lawyer's been very threatening. It seems that the parents initiated cutting off contact. It does seem that when I watch both conferences, and I've watched the police conference like 6 times, okay, I have yet to find a contradiction in that conference. Like we were just, I mean, the contradictions are with what he says, but he also contradicts himself, which helps in determining who's full of shit. And like he just said, the police concluded this is a suicide. And literally, we just watched the cop say these exact words. All evidence is indicative of a suicide, but this is currently an ongoing investigation. From the beginning, we have found no evidence to lead us to believe it was a homicide. Like these are very different words than they said it's a suicide, fucking close the case. That's not what they said. They said it's an ongoing investigation and that all evidence thus far is indicative of suicide. That's very different than what he said. Here's another thing, okay? No, not at all like Sandra Birchmore. Not at all. Because we have cameras pointing up at where she jumped from. Nobody asked about those, okay? The police let them know repeatedly. The cameras gave us the timeline. They had a witness to the thump. They have the literal last person she talked to. We know that she was shit hammered. She was already being a little violent. Her mother herself said that, when she can't handle her alcohol. Now, here's the thing. Was she drugged is what I would want to know when she was at the rugby club, because who gets that shit hammered? Yeah, she was there 5 hours. And it was kind of warm. Did she get overheated? Did she get dehydrated and pass out and then like fall over the railing? In which case it would be an accident, right? I don't think one of her friends pushed her. I don't think they could. She's a little bit taller than, she's 5'2". They're all tiny, dude. And it's just 3 little girls that are mortified, crying, getting death threats. Everybody's like, how could you move out of that apartment? My best friend just fucking fell off the balcony and died, killed herself. Like, of course I'm going to move out. Like, I can see it makes more sense to me, honestly. The story from the witnesses, the cop, friends, when we line up the time that guy who was walking downtown said he heard this argument, right? He even said it was above him, right? Well, there were 16 other reports of people being loud on balconies that night. Like literally all over next door and on the fucking people report shit on the Citizen app. And it's just very interesting because there's no way that fight happened at the rugby club, right? So there's no way he would have heard it at Rio. That is super far away. It's across campus. So as far as I'm concerned, old boy who had the forgetful friend who had his crazy night and sold mushrooms and claimed, I'm sure he did hear someone attack a woman or try to fight a woman. You're in West Campus where people get drunk. You know what I mean? And, there is a pretty high assault rate. So, like, as far as, like, I guess you could say, like, rapes and stuff, like, there's a lot of that shit that happens here. It sucks. But, yeah, I bet he did hear that. But I don't think it was her at all. There's no fucking way that fight she had with the friend, there's no way you could hear it where he was. And it was way later or way earlier. So they're like, when she's getting kicked out, he's not at the rugby club. There's no way he would have heard that. He's across town about 30 minutes to an hour later. So it just makes no sense. And also they have camera footage of her entering the apartment. They probably saw the state she was in. There's just a lot of details maybe they didn't give us. It seems to me that they withheld things. And this lawyer here, Busby, I think he's jumping to a lot of conclusions. I really do. I counted, here's what I counted before, and I'm going to let him finish. I counted 6, the last time. 6, we'll just say normal contradictions, but of those 6, 2 were major. Major. I have yet to find any that the cops have said that contradict what they've already said. So it's strange. I do think he's a decent criminal defense lawyer, and he seems pretty bad. And I feel horrible for the mom, but I feel like this is also kind of irresponsible to say they determined this case is closed. It's fucking suicide. No, they didn't say that. They said it's an ongoing investigation. But also, I think the parents should have a good relationship with the police. If they're reaching out to the mom 4 times and she's not answering, and they have this sensitive information to share with her, and she's like, go through my lawyer, it's just weird. It's not a good look, I guess, to as far as friendliness and willingness to hear it out, to hear anything out. If you're not answering the phone, how do you know? So now it's getting translated to them through an attorney. Ugh, it's just heartbreaking, man. I really do worry now that this was possibly her doing that because of her state. I am curious, though, did someone drug her? If so, that changes it. Then it could be an attempted murder. There's weird loopholes here, like acid is attempted murder, I think. Anyway, let's continue.
Hurriedly perform.
Yeah, that's the mom.
Or set up a press conference and leak details of the investigation and suggest to you that there was a suicide note without the medical examiner ever even performing their job. Why would they do that?
Well, okay. because the mom had put out a series of accusations online, and then all the kids that lived there, the witnesses were getting threatened with murder. And then the lawyer wasn't letting them talk to the mom to give her this information. And she's telling everyone it was a homicide. She wasn't suicidal at all. And they have a suicide note they're trying to show her, and she won't hear them. And either you didn't translate to them or she doesn't believe it. And now these kids are getting death threats. So I think they explained pretty well why they had to do that. Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea.
Now, what he told us, I'll tell you what the investigator told us. He said, oh,
Yeah,
my
mom
goodness
does look
gracious,
very young.
the witnesses are getting death threats. I said, from whom? Why? No answer, because it's foolishness. Absolute.
Well, and see, that's the other thing. That's not foolishness. That's exactly what happened in Idaho. That's exactly what happened to the families in Delphi. That's actually what happened all over Karen Reed on both sides. That's actually pretty common, especially when Morgan & Morgan sponsors some shit. And then you got Ashley, Bam and Nancy talking about, yeah, people get death threats. It's actually, I mean, shit. My family was in a mass shooting. They got so many death threats. It was in a documentary about people who professionally death threaten the victims of fucking mass shootings and call them crisis actors and camp out in the yard and threaten to kill them and bomb them. Like, this is extremely common, sir. I would think you would have seen that as a defense attorney. Now I'm starting to not like him.
Foolishness. And it's that kind of conduct that caused the family to try to find somebody separate from the Austin Police Department to investigate this. We don't have a toxicology report. We don't have a rape report. We don't have a cause of death, and none of those.
Yeah, but you're about to admit in a minute that there is a rape kit and it's being processed. After telling us you don't have a rape report, which you wouldn't have a report until the kit's processed. If there was no rape, there's no report, right? Also, you said that they said we're not going to do that. We wouldn't even know where to send it, right? So let's keep going.
Things. Don't put that on top of that. None of those.
Yeah, dude, I've had friends who have just totally passed out, and then I've had other friends who will deck you. I am the friend who will tuck and roll out of a car or climb a tree and then puke and go to the hospital because I'm allergic. Unless I take my Benadryl and then I just climb a tree and pass out. Bacon grease, exactly.
Are conclusions that a police detective, a corporal, can make. He doesn't have the statutory authority to determine the cause of death. And I'm surprised that none of you.
Here's the thing. They've never once said the cause of death is suicide. They've never said that. They've said the investigative evidence leads us to conclude that this is a suicide, but it's still under investigation. So they're saying the evidence points to that, which is fair because it kind of does. So, I mean, it's a question of, do you let everybody in the world hate you and tell the truth? Or do you lie to the family so everyone can like you and start a big conspiracy and risk these kids' lives being ruined and them getting murdered? And then you just have a lot of dead kids. Like, what do you do then? Like, what?
Even asked that question. He gave you an opportunity to ask questions. Not one of you said, hey, wait a minute, detective. When did the state of Texas give you the legislative authority to determine cause of death? I thought.
Well, that they wouldn't ask that question because they never said, like, we've officially closed the case and the cause of death is suicide. They said it's the evidence points that way. And also when a bunch of family members and friends were saying it's a homicide and accusing people, it's just, okay.
Only either a JP, if there's no medical examiner, or a medical examiner could do that. Is that what the medical examiner's done? He would have said to you, no, actually, the medical examiner hasn't even completed his autopsy.
He did. He said it's going to take 60 to 90 days.
But none of you asked that question.
Well, because he said it's going to take 60 to 90 days.
You just bought everything that he said, hook, line, and sinker. And then you published your most of the things that I saw on Instagram and the newspaper were cause of death determined.
Okay, well, they're not publishing on Instagram because you're talking to the media.
the things that I saw on Instagram.
And also, why are you yelling at the reporters? You need to yell at the copy editors.
The newspaper were cause of death determined. Young lady committed suicide. That's irresponsible.
Okay, well, also, they're not the police, so you can't blame the police for what the media did. Especially because you're also putting out shit that's actually not true. So that's also concerning.
Responsible. That's irresponsible. You should not
put your fucking finger down, sir.
Do that. You should say, wait a minute, detective. How many times have you been written up and reprimanded? Detective. Wait a minute. When did you have the statutory authority, detective, to determine cause of death? Detective.
But we're not attorneys. Like, I don't go to the person making my burger at McDonald's and demand to see their high school diploma. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just saying on a larger level, like when I got attacked, I didn't ask my detective at all, like, hey, you ever been written up for sleeping on the job? Or, you know, did you steal from Hot Topic in high school? Like, I was more concerned with like, fuck, get me out of here, help, you know?
It's your job. Now it's my job.
Oh, shit.
The public dissemination of information by the Austin Police Department during an investigation, the way it was done yesterday, is unethical, unprofessional, and incredibly damaging to an objective, unbiased investigation. And it's also damaging to the memory of this child. All this family is asking for is a thorough, complete, unbiased, open-minded investigation. That's all they're asking for.
Well, I mean, it's not done yet. And you guys want open-minded, but they're trying to call you and you're not taking their calls. So that's another thing that concerns me.
That's what any parent would ask for, whose child went to college, went to a game, lost her for several hours, and then find out hours and hours later that she supposedly jumped off a balcony. And with just a few questions, a few pointed questions, quickly figure out that these investigators, this so-called investigator, did not know what he was talking about. We're going to get into that. You can't close a case before you even have the cause of death from the medical examiner. Period. Full stop. You don't have that right. You don't have that authority. We have to get this right. This is not just for this family. This is for any family. You have to get this right. You can't close a book in the middle of reading a chapter and say that that's closed and it's over. That's not how it works. You can't misclassify a death like this. When you misclassify a death, you're planting a lie in the soil where truth should grow. And as I said, to her credit, Stephanie Rodriguez was very close to her daughter, very close. Talked to her daily. Knew everything that she was up to, everything that she was doing. The very first interaction she had with the detective from the Austin Police Department, he told her, your daughter committed suicide. The very first reaction, the very first interaction. At that point, he hadn't talked to one witness. He hadn't seen her phone. He hadn't done anything. That's sloppy and irresponsible. He claims she made suicidal comments. He told us in the Zoom call, she made suicidal comments. You know what he was talking about? The other day, when I was talking to a friend the other day, I said, man, you're going to make me jump off a bridge. That's what he's talking about. Silliness like that. He later claimed she was making those kinds of statements on the day of the night that she died. If that's the case, why did their friends leave her out on the balcony by herself? If that's true, because it's not true. None of the things that we've been told by the Austin Police Department are consistent with the actual facts that we've learned. The detective was talking about suicide before he was ever given her phone. Then he gets into her phone and he sees an essay that she wrote and he calls it a suicide note. She took creative writing the semester before. I don't know what the purpose of that. We'll never know what the purpose of what she wrote and deleted, but the suggestion was that she left a quote suicide note. Total malarkey. Total malarkey. There's something she wrote on the 25th. She talked to her mother on the 25th. She was with her boyfriend on the night of the 25th. She was talking to her mother every single day after that. We see pictures of her smiling. We see pictures of her having fun. We see pictures of her partying.
So right here, she had written it sometime in the former semester. Yet the police said that it was created and deleted on the 25th. That's the part that gets me. Because someone's lying. Someone is lying. The mom gave them the phone for the phone extraction. It's getting extracted right now still, but had already been. So now they're going even deeper, which is part of the investigation. So I don't get she took creative writing. They're saying that shit from earlier in the semester was the suicide note. And she talked to her mom every day. Said, sir, that was only 3 days before. We believe you, she talked to her mom, but what about also her phone being on Do Not Disturb and lost in the woods or getting kicked out? Like, what about all these other factors? That's another thing that bothers me. I realize he doesn't really address some of that. It's more accusatory towards other people, but prior to this, all of the mom's statements online have been like, and in interviews have been, she's a little thing when she gets drunk. You got to be careful. It's like, well, wait a minute. Like, it's weird. However, she says that they never went out on the balcony. And I think he said that to do a thorough investigation of the crime scene, according to them. I would ask, are you sure? Because they spoke to the roommates the next day. They said they went up there and her stuff was left there for the parents to pick up. So how do they know that? We have yet to hear the police say they didn't. And at this point, there have been a lot of bending of words and context and complete contradictions from this lawyer that are making me not want to trust his statements.
Total baloney, what they're trying to sell to you. And why? Am I suggesting that there's some kind of conspiracy? No, I'm suggesting they're lazy and they're incompetent.
They're not done. Again, they never said this is concluded. They've said repeatedly it's an ongoing investigation. You seem impatient and now you're yelling. And just because you're yelling doesn't mean what you're saying is right. I fell for that. The other day, I went, ooh, this little Matthew McConaughey-esque. But let's be honest here. A lot of what you're saying is simply not true or impossible if other things you've said earlier in this conference are true. Then that means you're contradicting yourself. And also you're saying that they concluded it and they're telling us it's ongoing. They literally said, waiting on the toxicology report. The phone is being extracted further. Like, it's an ongoing investigation, but all the evidence points to suicide. Unfortunately, they're not taking our fucking calls. Are they a bit more boring in their conference? Stern and fast and to the point? Yes. Are you being a little dramatic, sir? And also telling us a couple of bendy fibs or maybe like out of context thoughts that could be speculation and not evidence? Yeah, I think so.
So I'm clear. I'm not suggesting any sort of conspiracy that there's some kind of somebody in power that wants this to go. No, I'm not suggesting that. I'm suggesting that there's incompetence and laziness on the part.
But also, like, when you're this guy, like, he probably gets up and snorts protein powder, looks himself in the mirror and says, let's get her done. And then he does 1,000 things before 8 a.m., picks up a mochaccino, turns to the fucking Alexa and says, Alexa, what if she was white? And then he fucking speeds to work. Like, I have no doubt, sir, that you see a lot of other people as lazy because you have all the jobs. You're fucking very busy, sir. And you own a lot of weird cars and suits. You might be a very successful, brilliant John Ray, but I'm seeing through it. It seems to be hair gel, bravado, and bright yellow ties. And you might be a little gay, and that might be why I loved you at first. But now I'm starting to see you might be a cis white male pretending to be a cheerleader so you could touch boobs. That's what I'm seeing. That's allegedly
part of the detective. That's what I'm suggesting.
That's all I'm
The
suggesting.
suggestion that they've made is she wrote an essay, because it's not a note. She wrote an essay on the 25th that she deleted. And then she goes and kills herself 4 days later. This is their
I'm
lawsuit.
sorry. It was 3 days later. It was actually technically 2 because it was the night. So 5 and 4 are both wrong.
It's really
Like, I'm
ridiculous.
sorry, but no, you're ridiculous. You just said you overshot on purpose.
So, a few things they didn't bother to even explain. I don't
No, it wasn't 4 or 5 days later. It was literally 2 days and a couple of hours later, sir. And she was shit hammered.
even know what they did, honestly. I know what we've done. We sent someone to the apartment. We had someone take the dimensions of the apartment. We had somebody measure the railing and the height of the railing. We know how tall Brianna was. She was 5'2".
Also, everything I say here, including my opinion, is my opinion only. Allegedly, for entertainment purposes, even though this is sad and not entertaining. Don't get litigious with me, lawyers. I've got nothing.
The railing's 44 inches. You don't fall over it. There's no furniture out in the balcony. There's nothing to climb.
Okay, I'll agree with that, but also interesting. There's no furniture out there. There's no furniture. I will never come home. You tell your mom, stop texting me. That's weird. There's no furniture and she's 5'2". She would have had to climb. What if she dropped something? I wonder if she could have maybe dropped something over the ledge and was trying to get it. What if they misinterpreted this whole thing? What if, because she was crying and fighting with her boyfriend, she dropped something? Maybe something simple. Maybe it was a cigarette. I don't know if she smoked. Maybe a lighter. Maybe the phone. No, because she returned it.
I'm up on to jump off. Anyone that's on that little balcony, it's literally as big as this. It's a little bitty old balcony. And there's a window just like that you can see onto the balcony. The apartment is like a dorm. It's very small. There's no way you can be in that apartment and hide. If you're in the apartment, people know you're in the apartment. It's a little small apartment. No offense to the apartment complex, but that's what it is.
But they do have 2 bedrooms and the doors close.
It's like a little double room dorm with a small balcony with no furniture. These are easy things to find out. Things that you would say, wait a minute, you're saying that this young lady was out on the balcony and she was 5'2", she had to somehow climb over the railing to try to kill herself? Then certainly you guys could see that. Certainly you knew.
See, that is the most convincing part. That's what trips me out.
That was happening.
She could make it up there. She absolutely could. And she was a cheerleader. And see, that's the thing is, previously a couch, we saw pictures of her on the balcony, though it didn't look like there was anything there. But if there was a couch there, then it's not the little tiny one, because I've actually had to put those 2-bedroom units in to a database. I know exactly what the floor plan looks like. It's not that small.
I mean, how could that possibly be? It doesn't make any sense because it didn't
I
happen.
think he's getting the 1-2 or well, it's a 2 1.5. I think he's getting that mixed up. I mean, yeah, unless I think he said he went to the apartment, right? Because the 1.5 is different than the 1, and that's the 1.5 bath. Interesting.
She was 100 pounds, 5'2". There's no way she could fall over that railing accidentally. There's no way to be on the balcony and you be inside and not know somebody's on the balcony. It's not possible. It's almost impossible to be inside the apartment and not know somebody's in the apartment with you, even though there's 2.
In my opinion, that's a goddamn lie, because there are bedrooms, 2 of them with doors. It is not impossible. I rebuke that.
2 little bedrooms. This is called common sense. I'll tell you what's most concerning.
Disingenuous.
They didn't explore the fight that Brianna apparently had with somebody at the tailgate at the Austin Rugby Club. I think she went to, what was the name of the tailgate that they had there? Some student organization.
Sounds like you didn't explore that fight. And also, they talked about it at the press conference. They said, yes, we looked into that. We know that happened. There were reports online from people. They got tips online, probably. Like they said they saw it. But that doesn't apply to necessarily her being on the balcony, especially if perhaps those people she was with at the rugby club was a big group. And I believe the 3 girls were already on or in the apartment. So that would have been a totally different group of people.
Latin Economic Business Development tailgate at the Austin Rugby Club. There was an altercation between her and another female. No investigation of that.
That's not.
Turns out that other female.
We found out from them. What are you talking about? No investigation. We found out from them before you talked about it.
Was in the apartment with her that night.
Okay, so that girl was in the apartment with her that night. But was she one of the 3 that slept over? Because everything I was seeing indicated that she was one of the ones who left at 12:30. Now before, because he said that shit, I thought she was one of the ones who lived there. But the more I looked into it, it seems like she had left at 12:30. Yeah, I think this lawyer guy, I liked him, and now I'm flip-flopping. I'm officially flip-flopping. I'm sorry. Prayers to the family. This is sad, but he's lied to our face like 5 or 6. Okay, not lied. He's interpreted. It's like watching a preacher interpret the Bible wrong, in my opinion. Because it's too much, you guys. He said there was no rape kit at the beginning. Just wait till the end. He's going to just casually mention that there is, and it's being processed.
There was a witness between 12:30 and 1 a.m. who posted on TikTok. Many of you have seen it.
We saw that.
Young man posted on TikTok that he could hear up above at around the 17th floor in that general area.
He didn't say
fighting,
that.
Scream.
He did not say around the 17th floor. He did not say that. I think he said above at one point, but he did not say 17th floor.
Somebody saying, "Get off of me." And then a muffled sound. He posted it, got many, many views. You can get on TikTok and look at it now. We talked to him this morning. And guess what? Here's the irony. Or maybe here's the tragedy. The police didn't bother to talk to him.
No, he said he doesn't talk to police. He said he'll talk to the family, but he doesn't talk to police. Because he just don't, because it's not what he do.
Now, why wouldn't they talk to him?
He wouldn't talk to them.
He had incredibly specific information about what he heard.
Yeah, they saw it though, because they announced that in the
first. He could hear it loud enough. He could hear the words that were spoken. "Get off of me," and screaming, and then a muffled cry between 12:30 and 1 p.m.
I don't like it either. And then I was thinking about it more, and I was like, because she said that the police instructed the boyfriend and her friends not to speak to the family. But they said while it's under investigation, and that makes sense, right? Hey, witnesses, don't all talk to each other until we're done interviewing you. That's pretty important, man. Yeah.
Right next to the apartment. We had an expert say, "Wait a minute, could he hear that?" We had to engage an expert to say, "Is it possible that he could actually hear that?" The expert said, "Absolutely. Absolutely could hear that. It makes a lot of sense."
You don't need an expert for that, though. You just need a guy on the balcony going, "Hello," and then somebody below going, "Can you hear me?" And then going, "Yep, that's it." Didn't Nicky Rocco do that in the garage and then up with Alan? Didn't they do that? And they filmed it. And it's kind of weird because in this situation, they did go in the house within a couple of hours. They had to find out where the apartment was by pulling the footage because they didn't know who this girl was. She didn't have her ID on her. I mean, the fact that they got up there and it had been, the more I think about it, 48 to 72 hours, they'd already interviewed everyone who was at the party, all the witnesses, all the friends who lived in the house, her and the family, right? And some of them twice. Give pop your hair.
We have a witness who was in the apartment across from the apartment where this apparently occurred.
Now, this is the part I'm interested in. This is the part I want to know more about. Who is this witness?
Who could hear running back and forth and screaming. And then she said, "I could tell something bad had happened." Did y'all know this?
No. That's the one I want to hear more on. Okay, well, wait a minute. Did she say she could tell something bad had happened after she found out that a girl died? Be honest with me, sir. Did she have books on the occult or tarot in her house? Did she tell you that she has vivid dreams? Did she say, there was something ominous after you told her? Or was this something she reported before even knowing about this death, before she got the memo from 21 Rio? These are important things. Or are you doing a little stretchy stretch again? Letting us think the worst?
Family was in the apartment. The police could have talked to her and several other people. They failed to look into the anonymous message that was sent. There was an anonymous message that was posted that said, hey, I have specific information that this young lady was locked out on the balcony.
Okay, that's important, but also how do you know that? Like, did you see this posted on Reddit and then you sent it to them and then they said thank you and they're looking into it and you're chastising them for not seeing it first? Is that what's going on? I'm just asking.
Did you know that?
No, I didn't.
It's not part of the investigation. Why is it not part of the investigation? Because they made their decision literally within minutes.
See, this is the thing. It's not part of the investigation, but earlier he said the case was closed. I'm adding 7. That is a big contradiction, right? They told you the case is closed, but also somehow told you it's under investigation.
Within minutes. Now, here's where it gets a little dicey, and here's where I'm having and I want to be very careful because I don't want to be accusing anybody, because I'm not accusing anybody other than the APD, the Austin Police Department, not doing its job.
They are good at not doing their job.
She jumped from the balcony.
But not all of them. Some of the recent detectives are amazing, especially the cold case unit guy fucking rules.
And several other people. They failed to look into the anonymous message that was sent. There was an anonymous message that was posted that said, hey, I have specific information that this young lady was locked out on the balcony. Did you know that? It's not part of the investigation. Why is it not part of the investigation? Because they made their decision literally within minutes.
I mean, if she was locked out, here's the thing. Locking someone out on a balcony, it would have been a max of a minute because she gave the phone back. So locking your friend out on the balcony for a minute does not usually elicit someone to jump off of said balcony. At most, she would have been locked out there for 60 seconds. So if that's true, then none of her friends pushed her and it's not a homicide. Right? 1 minute on a balcony, that's not pushing someone to the brink of death, sir. I'm sorry. But also, you're now telling us that you apparently what you believe, or you want this looked into that she was, and if so, then again, that would actually prove more likely that it's a suicide. Because usually you lock anyone out 1 minute tops. They're not going to do that. Yeah, 1 minute on the back. It makes no sense. Like, so if you are insinuating that something nefarious went on that led to her death, that was not a suicide, right? Then how is her being locked out supporting that? That's what I'm also confused on. So 8?
Within minutes.
No, within 1 minute.
Now, here's where it gets a little dicey, and here's where I'm having it, and I want to be very careful because I don't want to be accusing anybody, because I'm not accusing anybody other than the APD, the Austin Police Department, not doing its job. At first, we were told that she jumped from the balcony, and the 3 ladies, the 3 young women that were in the apartment, and we're talking about, as I said,
okay, wait, they said fell. I went back and replayed it for us twice, I think, and it said, yeah, just earlier we replayed it right. They said falling.
Tiny little apartment. Were asleep and didn't know where she was. That's what we were told first. If they were asleep, they didn't even know she was on the balcony. They didn't know where she was, and that's the reason why they didn't call the police until 12:15 the next day.
No, they were asleep all night. See, this is what's pissing me off. They said her friends went to sleep and woke up and noticed she wasn't there. That's exactly what they said. That's different than they were asleep at the time of her death, because the police did also say witnesses heard a commotion. Like, or what was it? The thud. So these witnesses heard a thud, but that girl got her phone back. How do we know she didn't just walk in, toss the phone on the bed while the girl's asleep?
Told. That's part of the cop's timeline. Okay? Put up the timeline, Ryan.
Yeah, let me see that timeline, Ryan.
They said, according to the plot, we haven't talked to them, who were in the apartment, 3 of them.
Oh, yeah, that's another thing. It sticks out 3 to 4 feet. I was actually looking at a bunch of pattern trajectories, and basically like the difference between force from if you were to push yourself off and how. And it seems like another reason that it could have been, I mean, first of all, there is a camera pointing at it. It is very likely that they saw footage of it and they would love to tell the mom, and they're withholding because who would want to share that at a press conference? It's not a homicide investigation. So obviously, like, you're not going to show that. They were already pushing it by having one. But obviously, if these girls are getting death threats, they have to do something to try to advocate for them. So, like, because there are now victims, you know, like, that's traumatic. So it's just so wild that, like, if they know that there is a tape and they're not accepting that would be very concerning. That would be a denial or, you know, omitting on behalf of Busby. But, like, I don't know. It feels weird because there are cameras pointing at the balconies. And it does seem like if she were to even slightly push off with her foot, she would possibly land on the sidewalk. Very likely, actually. When the workers fell, they landed in a similar spot, I believe, on the other side of the building. And that was when it was being built.
Which was the lessor or the lessee of the apartment who vacated the apartment the very next day and never went back. Did you know that?
Yeah, you just yelled at my face. But also, like, her friend just killed herself by jumping off that balcony. And then their pictures with them on that balcony got blasted all over the internet, and they started getting death threats. It's very easy to look up someone's address. I can totally see her wanting to leave that apartment. That makes sense. I wouldn't want to stay there either.
This is the timeline that the police gave us yesterday. This is the timeline. And if you can't look at that timeline in 1 second, point out the problem of that timeline, then you're not doing your job. We'll get to it. So okay. First we're told.
We're going to just read this, okay? And then we're going to go forward because I got to go soon. But also, this is the gabagool. This is what I wanted to see, all right? Let me take this down. I'm so sorry. I'm getting allergies pretty bad. Yeah, very white and violent. Witnesses told police Aguilera borrowed a friend's phone to call her out-of-town boyfriend with whom she was heard arguing. So she was heard arguing with him. We know that. So a friend, they probably heard her arguing, right? Or is this the commotion that was heard out on the balcony? Her yelling into the phone. Call logs confirmed the 1 minute call lasted from 12:43 to 12:44. Yes, that is what the police said at 12:46. No, officers got a 911 call, and then they were there. What was it at 12:48? And then she was determined deceased at 12:56. And the call they got was that there was a deceased person on the sidewalk. Detectives contacted an employee at 21 Rio Grande. Yep, at 6. We know that. Police say staff cooperated with the investigation. They did. And they provided access to all of the security footage. At 10 a.m., showing the hallway of the apartment. I've also been there. It shows the elevators as well. There's cameras all over the front lobby and outside. At 12:14, friends called 911 to report Aguilera missing, unaware of her death. Yeah. Yep. What? And again, if you had something to do with it, you probably wouldn't want to make a missing person report even that early. 12:50, Aguilera's mother, Stephanie Rodriguez, contacted the police to help locate her daughter. And she filed a missing persons report. And we heard that call when they said, oh, it's a girl with the same name. And they're like, no, they're two different ones. They fucked up there. So that part they did fuck up, but that was honest mistake. The mom calls and says, I got a girl missing. This is her name. And then the friends had called like 30 minutes before, same name. The police have to put that together because you have two different dispatchers likely answering. Rodriguez informed police Aguilera's phone had been located at 2 p.m. So the mom calls and obviously did the find my iPhone thing. She's like, it's here. So then the officers go pick it up. It takes about an hour and a half. They find it in a wooded area near the Austin Rugby Club, which is where she got kicked out and was going to the woods and, tossed her shit. So what on this timeline is not true?
That the three women didn't know where she was and they were asleep. That's what we were told. And that they didn't know where she was. They were looking for her and they were texting her mom and it wasn't. And they decided about 12:14 the next day, 6 hours later almost, that they decided at that point they couldn't find her. So they were going to call the police.
Well, here's the thing though. You can't really, hold on. That's fucked up. All right. I'm officially, nope. Hold on a second. Did you hear that? I'm pissed off.
They said, according to the plot, we haven't talked to them, who were in the apartment, three of them, one of which was the lessor or the lessee of the apartment, who vacated the apartment the very next day and never went back.
Okay, go
6 hours later almost, that they decided at that point.
Right here.
And they decided about timeline, then you're not doing your job.
Right here.
We'll get to it. So at first we're told that the three women didn't know where she was and they were asleep. That's what we were told. And that they didn't know where she was. They were looking for her and they were texting her mom and it wasn't. And they decided about 12.
Okay. So they're texting the mom. Okay. And they're looking for her. So the mother is in communication with them and they're actively texting the mom, reaching out to the mom, looking for her. And they can't find her. The mom, let's go back. When did she make her call? Because I believe her report to police that her daughter was missing was at 12:50. In fact, I don't even need to go back. I have it written down. It was at 12:50. The roommates called at 12:11. Is he seriously criticizing the roommates for taking too long and waiting 6 hours later? Oh, that's when you decide. They made their missing persons call before the mother, who they were actively talking to. I'm sorry, you're relying on the teens to tell the mom when to make the missing persons report? Because it sounds to me like that's what you're insinuating should have happened. Because if what they did was wrong, according to you, this is some kind of crazy wrong thing they did. Yes, 6 hours later. So wait a minute. So they've been talking with the mom. Why did the friend check on her and get her phone back? She gave the phone to her friend. She went inside and returned the phone to her friend and then went back out on the balcony. And yeah, she was going to stay the night there. But think about it, Miss Plinch. Her friends are asleep. They're in the bed or they're in the bedroom. They're about to go to sleep, I'm assuming. She uses the phone. She's arguing. They probably heard arguing. There are doors on those bedrooms. She was probably done arguing, came in, tossed the phone to her friend, went out to the balcony. The girl probably laid down. Maybe she had headphones on. Maybe she wanted to make a call. Maybe she was watching TV. Who knows? She was supposed to stay the night there. She's wasted. I mean, she's the visitor, so she's probably sleeping on the couch in the living room. And it doesn't exactly make a noise when you jump from a 17-story. That takes a minute and it's down below. These girls are all wasted. How do we also know that the friend whose phone she borrowed wasn't puking in the bathroom and she just put her phone down outside the How do we know that? The officers didn't go into great details because they're still investigating, right? I think this is a very bold assumption to, first of all, chastise the friends for not making a missing persons report 6 hours later. At what time? They made their report at 12:11. The mother made her report at 12:50, which was almost 40 minutes after the friends. So to criticize the friends when they're in contact with the mom, if I were talking to my friend's mom and my friend was missing, I wouldn't say, ma'am, I have to make a missing persons report right now. If the mom is saying, hold on, let me locate I have a locate the iPhone feature. I could, like, the mom will tell you what to do. You're the 20-year-old who was drunk last night. I probably would do you want it? Should we make it missing? And then the mom probably said, yes. Okay, I'll call them. And then they probably talked. And then the mom called and made her. The mom did hers after. So to chastise these fucking teens, or the 18 to 21, to chastise them for not making a judgment call when they're in contact with the mother, and the mother made hers after. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, by yelling at these teens for not making a missing persons report, like they're supposed to just know to do that right away. When they're on the phone with their mom, I would think they're kind of trying to seek guidance from what to do from her, you know? And I'm not blaming her. I'm just saying by blaming them, sense to me.
Find her, so they were going to call the police. This is what we were told by the Austin Police Department. Lay aside what.
But you just said they were texting with the mom, so you must have heard that from the mom as well, right?
What was heard happening at about 12:30 to 1 o'clock that night. Lay aside what the witness across the hall said. Lay aside what the man down on the street said.
I already have.
Just disregard all that.
I already have.
This is what the police say. It must.
Is the fight he described. First of all, the fight that she did have happened at the rugby club. It didn't happen outside of 21 Rio, right? He was pontificating. Was that the fight I heard? No, the answer is no, because you were almost a mile away. So no, that's the answer. No, that was not. So we could check that out. Had police spoken to the person across the hall? Well, right here at this press conference, you're saying no, but you also said a few other things that seem to not be true. So maybe the police just omitted that or haven't told you that.
Be right, according to them, because they did such a thorough investigation. This is what
I'm kind of pissed off that this feels like I don't want to say it. It just feels kind of manipulative. It feels fucked up. Yeah, that's exactly what I was saying earlier, Stevie. It feels like that. And this is very vulnerable. She might be believing everything he's saying. He cut off communication between her and the cops. She said, go through our attorney. But the cops were able to speak to the dad. I mean, Jesus.
What they gave us. Not one of you have asked a question about it. Not one of you. But this is what they said. Her friends called the police at 12:14 the next day because they didn't know where she was. They hadn't seen her. They thought maybe she had went out. That's what they said. Keep that in your mind. When I asked the police that, like, wait a minute, how is that possible? How is that possible? A whole group of 14 or so people came into the apartment that night after they'd been out partying. They got there about 11 or so. Everybody left. Right? That's what they say.
Yeah, at 12:30.
Left just 4 girls there, 4 young women.
Yeah, they lived there. The girls lived there. 2 of them lived there, and I think 2 were visiting, right? Yeah, you don't usually keep 15 loud people in your house all night. Usually tell them, shush. Go home. You live across the street. You live on another floor. You live in another apartment. It's within a block. You guys have to get the fuck out. That's what happens at the end of parties.
Right? And the 4 young women, 3 of them didn't call the police till 12 o'clock the next day because they didn't know where she was.
They were going to bed.
That's what the police say. Lay aside what the witnesses have said about that and lay aside the fact that that's a really small apartment. It's hard to get lost in that little space.
There were no witnesses to say anything about that because no one else was in the apartment but them. Like, what are you're talking about? A guy who got another fight confused, a person who was, I'll admit, the one across the hall, curious. She heard running and screaming and then knew something bad happened. I want to know more. I want to know more about her, but I'm not angry and accusing the other 3. especially because yet again, I don't see any of those girls able to pick her up and toss her off. She already hit one of them.
Small apartment. I want you to look very carefully. The first entry on the timeline. According to the police, let me walk over there. Brianna did not have her phone. She didn't have her phone, so she had to call to make a call. According to the police, she borrowed her friend's phone, meaning one of the three women that was in the apartment.
Yeah.
Now look at this very carefully. According to the police, she borrowed her friend's phone and made a call from 12:43, and it lasted 1 minute. At 12:46, 2 minutes later, the police were responding to a 911 call because she was outside on the ground. Now do the math.
3 minutes.
So you're probably thinking, well, she must have, she hung up her friend's phone and she just jumped.
No.
She hung up the phone, she dropped it on the balcony, she jumped.
No, she just went inside and tossed it to her
First
friend.
question you should have is, where is the phone? What did she do with the phone?
She gave it back to her friend.
I asked the police that 3 different times. 3 times. They sidestepped me every time until this morning. They sidestepped me because they hadn't thought about it. Because they
see, that's the part. Before I went, oh, good one. And then I thought about it. And I went, oh yeah, you're a lawyer and it's an active investigation. They don't have to tell you shit. In fact, what they have to tell you is what they would tell the parents. In my investigation, they didn't tell me until the end. So like, the cops aren't going to tell you they're not even going to tell you the names usually. The mom just knew them because they were this girl's lifelong friends. Like the cops don't have to tell you shit, sir. The investigation is still ongoing. And look at how you're responding and the things you're saying.
It's rushed to judgment. They finally answered the question this morning. And you know what they said to me this morning? And they said it, and they didn't even realize what they were telling me because they're so sloppy.
Or were they lying to you because they legally can? Because it's an active and ongoing investigation. They don't have to tell anyone the truth until it's over, right? Because you kept bothering them about it, And fair enough, you're trying to get answers. But again, they would only tell you while it's ongoing what they could tell the parents, and they don't usually tell them much.
I made them put it in writing. I have it here. I'll read it to you. Austin Police Department did not find the phone on Miss Aguilera. Miss Aguilera returned the phone to its owner before she was seen going onto the balcony.
Yeah, so she returned the phone. Someone saw her go out to the balcony. Okay, and were they passing and they saw her walk out? Were they getting some milk or like a fucking cookie? Were they taking a piss or a shit? Were they vomiting? Were they watching TV and going back into their bedroom? Were they already in their bedroom and they saw her walk out and then they got up and closed their door? We don't know that. They don't tell you every detail because it's an active, ongoing investigation. Yeah, that is a ridiculous notion, especially considering how much they loved her and all of the pictures of them together and them growing up with her. Like, it makes no sense. And they're also all frail and tiny.
Now, how is that possible? That is 180 degrees different than what you told us previous.
Okay, so when we were watching it earlier, right? That was the press conference where they come out and they basically explain that the investigation is thus far not a homicide and is leaning towards suicide. And they even explain we don't normally do that because blah, 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 you know. So before that, there were media reports that the girls were asleep. There was online speculation that the girls were asleep. The police said she was on the balcony. She had borrowed a friend's phone, and that her friends didn't hear anything or know that she had jumped because they were asleep. It sounds to me that her returning her friend's phone, it's very vague. Like, we don't know what that means. Did she toss it on the bed? Did she put it on a nightstand outside the door and another roommate saw her leaving? Like, these are specifics that we might not get for a little while, but not having that information does not in any way compel me to think this is a shoddy investigation, or they are stupid, or that there was something nefarious going on, or that there is a lie. It seems like this guy doesn't have the full story. And so he's just going to call it a lie. In my opinion, that's what it looks like. But this would be a point where I'd say, well, why don't you hold out and wait for the full story? You know, like, maybe you have not been told everything. Maybe she tossed the phone back to the friend, said she's sorry or something, said, I'm going to go out to the balcony and get some fresh air. Friend says, okay, goes to sleep, sees her walk out there, and then all the friends are talking to the police. They have all cooperated with the police, and they have gotten multiple interviews, every single one of them. And you're saying the mom, yeah, and the mom won't talk to the police, but the dad will, but the mom won't, and the dad's not up here. It doesn't look like the dad is taking part in. I don't know. It's strange. Like, I think that maybe. I mean, I don't know if her parents are separated or what, but the dad heard it, so I just think he's making a lot of assumptions that are really dangerous. That's just my opinion.
It's absolutely contrary to what you told us previous. Previous, you said the 3 women were asleep. You said they didn't know where she went. But then when I asked the one question
no, they didn't know where she went in the morning. Like, they woke up, she was gone, and they said, we don't know where she went. That's different.
and over, and you had to answer it. Then all of a sudden we realized, if she did in fact use her friend's phone, like they claim, if she did in fact use it for 1 minute and was found already 2 minutes later by a passerby and the police were already responding to a 911 call, think about that, what the ramifications of that are.
Yeah, exactly. I agree completely with you, Stevie. Yeah, I'm over his yelling. And honestly, that's it. Yeah, I feel like getting all your information directly from your attorney and not law enforcement. Yeah, it is dangerous because it's open to interpretation now through him, through the eyes of an attorney. What's an attorney's job? To poke holes in everything and ask a million questions. And the second you get one that is answered even the slightest bit weird, you make a huge think about it. That is literally your job. That does not translate well into victims or their families, like into giving them accurate information. I agree completely, Crazy Jen. He's yelling at us, Kevin. I feel horrible for this mom, but now I feel horrible for her for not just the reason that not just because her daughter's gone, but because I feel a little bit, in my opinion, like she's being a bit manipulated here by this fella. It's not going to bring her daughter back for him to fucking scream all this shit. And in my opinion, this type of behavior could ruin any chance of not ruin any chance, but maybe fuck up an early process where she could have known more or perhaps had a bond with the investigators and gotten better answers. And it happens so fucking often. Yeah, well, right now he's working on pressuring the governor to force the cops, I guess, to punish them or to force them to look again or something. And even that's kind of skeezy because he represents the governor and Ken Paxton in lawsuit, or he represents Paxton, who is the governor's butt buddy. So that's pretty fucking weird. But really the AG and the governor is who he's going after.
That whoever phone she was using was standing right next to her as she went over the balcony, if she went over the balcony.
No. See what I mean? That's fucking, no. You know what? I don't think I've ever done a 180 or 360 this hard, but I'm glad we did this because something was bothering me about this. And now that I'm hearing this talk and I'm looking at all of it for the millionth time. I'm like, damn, this is dangerous, kind of, in my opinion.
That whoever phone she was using was standing right next to her as she went over the balcony, if she went over the balcony.
Oh, wait a minute. Now, if she went over the balcony, where do you think she fell from now, sir? I feel so bad for this mom. I hope that, I mean, I'm worried, but I hope in her head she's rethinking this, because I don't feel like this is the good avenue to go down. Oh. Yeah, I mean, this is pretty much it. The only other part, we've already heard it. It's in the last episode. It's let's take this down. I can't handle this. It's propagandizing at this point, in my opinion. I don't like it. If she went over the balcony, where else would she fucking go? Think she went through the trash chute? We don't have those. Yeah, I can't watch that. I can't. I just focus on his eye. It's always looking the wrong way. You know, I flipped on Busby. I don't like this. I don't like this situation. I think that poor girl did get extreme. Here's the thing. I'm going to pose the theory that, yeah, through the railings, like how well, here's another thing. She was a cheerleader. Cheerleaders can jump. Okay. They can get onto the object, literally tumbling. Like I'm pretty sure she could get up there. It's weird though that there wasn't chairs and stuff, but then the mom had reported that couch, right? But at the same time, this is too much. Like the whole, like if she went over the balcony and then saying her friend was standing right there is fucked up. I don't like that at all. Because we don't know that. And the cops never said some of the things that he is insinuating they said. He's putting words in their mouth and it fucks me up. I don't like that. We just heard them say falling from the balcony. They didn't say pushed or jumped. They said falling. He used the words pushed or jumped. He used words like that. Like he's sitting there saying that would mean she would have to be right now. Sir, I can take a piss and heat up my cup of coffee, scratch the Hoogan's butt, give him an ice cube and sit down in a minute. I think she can toss a phone to a friend and then walk back outside. Also, did she vape? If so, the alarms and the policies in these apartments are no, you go out on the balcony to even just a vape. Okay, people don't vape indoors here in the fancy schmancy places. You will get a huge fucking fine. Did she vape? Was she like, I'm gonna go outside and have a vape? I'm gonna go have a smoke. We don't know that. Just so many little nuances we don't know to assume something so bold that a person was standing next to her holding her phone when that's crazy. It's just a crazy leap. I'm wondering, if she smoked or vaped, did she drop it and try to lean over and get it? I'm wondering if it was an accident. Could she have been looking up at the stars? Did she take some mushrooms and was trying to fucking touch the sky? I agree. I wonder too. I feel bad for that guy. I saw pictures of her and him today. They were cute. They were so cute together. So cute. Yeah, it happens a lot. Yeah. There's an episode of Sex in the City where the chick from Third Rock from the Sun falls out the window. It's just a lot. Okay, you know what, Sherlock? Grounded. How dare you? Grounded. Yeah, and she's terrified of heights. Absolutely, but she's also a cheerleader. 17 stories is a lot, though. But, like, here's the thing. If you take... PCP isn't big here, Lord, but, like, mushrooms, big here. You know, if she... God forbid... I'm not saying she did drugs. I don't want to insinuate that. But if someone slipped her something... I'm wondering if it was an accident and if she was drugged at the bar, which led to the behavior and the shit getting thrown in the woods and the being really upset and punching someone. Well, that's a lot. I don't know. How do you guys feel? I'm not going to hate you if you like Busby or you think that, you know, there is foul play, or even if you agree with everything he said. I'm not going to shit on you or anything. I personally, though, I flipped. I feel horrible for this mother. I love her and her family. I wish them the best. I don't know them, but Peace to them, dude. But I worry now. I really worry because I hate when people get victims and victims' families' hopes up, but I also don't like seeing someone misled to believe something that like could really affect them emotionally and in their like healing journey. You know what I mean? Like trying to like, because we all deal with shit differently. I remember writing a bunch of jokes about tragic shit that happened in life to friends and family. I can't imagine someone like being like, fuck the comedy club. It's not the right way. Like having someone kind of lead me in another direction that maybe I'm like, well, I don't know. Like people can take you when you're vulnerable and convince you of all kinds of things. And it's just, yeah, it feels better to be angry than sad. That is true. It was a ton of conjecture. You are ass on, dude. Yes. Balance. I mean, I just showed you also the last time we looked at this, a girl rappelling off this fucking top floor. Remember? Off same type of building balcony. 2 workers who were building it fell and died. I do have a lot of questions. I think it's going to take time for us to get the answers. She does. It feels really dangerous to feed her potential information that could also lead to a I'm not saying it's good to trauma bond, but these are her friends, you know, who she grew up with, who this mother's daughter loved. I'm sure maybe they had a one night fight. That girl who fought with her, is she going to be okay? Could you imagine having one drunken, stupid fight with your friend one night and then that happens and then everybody sees you as the girl who got punched and probably the attorney got on. They aired this on national TV. They put this on all the networks. That lawyer said you could have been standing right next to them and the police were stupid and didn't do their investigation. He's the best. Like, fuck. It's so disappointing too because I really did like him. I got worked up, but that's why I like to watch things multiple times and really sit down and discuss it because it's like sometimes it just takes that, just analyzing something a little bit extra to go, oh, okay. I fell for some bullshit. Maybe I need to take a step back. Devil's advocate. You're right. And honestly, like, if I was an attorney, I'd be like this.
Your Honor, defer. Miss Cena'S.
Judge Athens.
Your Honor, this is so unfair. Your Honor, I think I want to appeal. Your Honor. Your Honor, stop. This is propaganda. Your Honor, this is fake. Don't believe what they say.
I gotta listen to it again. Dude, we're gonna do a rundown of he's better than Alan Jackson. Your Honor. He fucking kills me. I love him so much. He's so good. Your Honor. Team Wicked, Your Honor. He's so good. I love him. All right, I have to go catch up and praise John Cena. This is last night. This is last match. I think actually tomorrow we'll talk about it. We'll do a rundown. We'll get some wrestling silly tomorrow, okay? And really, like, if you want to go back and rewatch this stuff, you met Busby. That's hilarious. He's not Alan Jackson. I thought he could be. I said I wanted to see him go against Alan. Alan would fucking mop the floor with him now. In my opinion, for entertainment purposes only. Don't sue me, Busby. I have nothing. Happy John Cena Day. I'm about to go watch. Tomorrow we'll do a rundown. Of that. Okay. And also, while Mitty is here, of course, I have to say,
go cry about it.
You know. But also, since Mitty just got here, for those of you who just got here, I'm about to leave you. I'm about to go to the Moose Lodge and not come back. Why? Because John Cena's last match. And that makes dads real fucking sad. And I'm sorry about that. But if you don't like it, fucking sue me.
Your Honor, defer. Miss Cena'S.
Judge Athens.
Your Honor, this is so unfair. Your Honor, I think I want to appeal. Your Honor. Your Honor, stop. This is propaganda. Your Honor, this is fake. Don't believe what they say.